All right, everybody, let's make it a great show.
Talent ready? Crew ready?
Yep.
Hold, turn this down.
Go.
One drop.
We are on for episode number 3 of the Unusual Podcast with Josh, my pronunciation, Feuerstein, and Adam Sosnick. Today we got a lot of things to cover. First of all, we're going to talk about Bubba Wallace and what happened with NASCAR. We'll talk a little bit about John Bolton as well as the temporary banning of the visas. We'll talk about that. I know our buddy here, Adam's got a lot of updates for us with the stimulus. Let me show everybody. They got to see it. Check this out. Look at this. I mean, let me close this here because the audio here is making noise.
Make sure you get the right one then.
Watch this. Watch if he can see this here. Where's the camera at? This is all the notes. Adam looked at all your comments and he said, I'm going to take up that challenge and I'm going to do some research. He is ready.
I haven't done this
to
much
bring
homework
it today
since
to
high school.
Josh. So we're going to see what's going to happen today.
You better be ready, boy.
And then, by the way,
up a little bit?
I wrote something out here. We're going to talk about today because I think it's important for us to talk about who's going to be a president first. LeBron James or Dwayne Johnson first. I think that's a good topic to talk about. I know it's crazy, but we'll talk. I know you guys weren't prepared for that one.
No, you're throwing stuff our way.
And then I had a meeting. I had the meeting with the executive producer of VAX. We talked for a couple hours. Maybe we can talk about that a little bit. But first things first, most important, revolutionary. This is something everybody needs to be aware of. I don't know if you guys heard or not. I don't know if you guys got the news or not. I don't know if you heard about this or not, Kai, Josh, or Adam. Here's what just happened. A lot of people are talking about a major death that just happened recently. It's a little bit emotional, but officially, Segway has died. Okay, the death's over. Segway. Steve Jobs got up there and he said, "This product's going to be bigger than PC." Can you imagine Steve Jobs, Mr. Visionary, Mr. Different, Mr. Apple says this product's going to be bigger than PC. The inventor, Dean Kamen, expected to sell 100,000 units in the first 13 months. Company got started in 2009. From 2009 till today, 11 years, they only sold 140,000 units. Why do you think that is, Adam? I'm going to go to you first.
Segway. Well, if you don't know about me, I haven't had a car in 9 years.
Yes, we know
No,
that.
10 years almost. Okay. So I've done the Uber, Lyft, smart cars. I've done it all.
It's got to suck for dates.
Yeah. Well, on dates, you pick them up in a black SUV.
black
It's
Lux.
easy guy.
Lux.
Lux. That's a good look. Never been on a Segway. So
you don't pull for dates, is what you're saying.
I've done an Uber pool on a date. No, just kidding.
cool.
No Uber pools on dates. No.
Okay.
No.
So no
Save that
Segway.
money.
So Segway you've never had.
My point is that I've done it all. No Segway.
But
never.
no, when you first saw the Segway,
Yeah.
what did you think? Did you think Steve Jobs said this is going to blow up? Did you think it was going to blow up? Josh, maybe yourself. What do you think?
First of all, let me just respond. The audio is getting fixed for all of you that are in the chat. They're actually working on that right now, so don't worry about that. And we do want to remind you guys that this is live. Some people still don't believe it. We are doing it live. That way that when you comment in the chat section, we're able to respond to you. In regards to Segway, you want to know when I believe Segway died? The day that it was in Mall Cop. Okay,
because with a great movie you started. That was awesome.
Which happens to be a movie
great role for
that I
Josh.
starred in. I honestly think everything comes down to marketing. Okay, so it depends on if you're going to see something as being sexy and cool, or if you're going to see it as being just flat and boring. And I think that probably one of the mistakes that they made was actually not lobbying Mall Cop to literally get rid of it out of their film. Because think, this guy may be somewhat likable, but he's just not cool.
Who?
Okay?
Paul Blart?
Paul Blart. And when you think of Segway, everybody...
You think so? You think that's what it is?
Everybody thinks of Paul Blart, okay? Yeah. Or literally a mall cop. Like, there was nobody cool that was... So, I actually remember...
You don't see rappers trapping on the Segway like Migos talk about, huh?
No. So, if I... Personally, I think if they would have done a little bit better job of brand placement, maybe put it in some place to make it seem a little bit more sexy and cool, because it is kind of cool. But let me ask you this. Have you ever tried to balance on one of those things? Literally.
Never done it.
I mean, it is not exactly easy. It's basically like riding a hoverboard. Have you tried a hoverboard? It really takes a little bit of getting used to, and I think that people, Pat, don't like to be embarrassed. And so, if you don't like to be embarrassed, you really don't even like to try it for the first time, because how many...
Why would Steve Jobs say this is going to be bigger than PC, though? Steve Jobs is not one that makes predictions. Why would he say this is going to be bigger than PC?
But have you ever had a vision for something that you saw in your head, but it was essentially before its time? Think, Tesla was way ahead of its time. Maybe Segway is still going to be bigger than PC. Okay, maybe it will change, but maybe it was just ahead of its time.
No, they closed down. Is what I'm saying to you.
But the concept could be revived. Like a lot of Nikolai's Tesla stuff is
because I have a different take on it.
Okay.
I have a different take on it. Here's my take on it. What year did Segway come out? Kai, when you say Segway, it says what? Started in 2009? That's the timeline you gave me, right? The first Segway started selling in 09, okay? Mm-hmm. And they started in 01 is when I think the company got started. But the first one, the notes I have is in 2009. Now, what is so special about 2009? Do you know what's special about 2009?
No.
The economic crisis?
What do you think is special about March of 09? What is special about March of 09?
That was the lowest point in the stock market. No?
What company do you think came out on March of 09?
Uber.
Uber came out on March of 09. So think about it. So here's Segway. You're thinking, what's Segway for? I'm going to go down the block, 2 blocks. I'm going to go 3 blocks. I'm going to go 5 blocks. It's going to be good. And he's like, this is not a bad idea.
That's great.
Because if you're going back and forth, you're down 5 blocks, I'll take a Segway. I'll go and I'll come back. Boom. March of 09, Uber comes up. Your dreams become a reality, right? You don't need to car. You don't need a car. You don't need to go anywhere. You don't have any kind of issues. By the way, I'm hearing static noise in the background a lot while you guys are making that parts. I don't know if you're getting it or not. So maybe that's the reason why that happened.
100%.
With Uber coming out and you're seeing that taking place with Uber. But I don't know. All I know is it is over with. For some of you guys that are listening to this or watching this and you're fully devastated, we feel for you. But the solution is call an Uber.
And now, I mean, I don't know if you've seen this. It's been all over. There's many streets in Venice and Miami and many cities. I think New York, they don't even allow it anymore. It's like the moped electronic Segway.
Yeah, scooters.
The scooters, the e-scooters, if you will.
Which my wife loves. Like we were in San Diego. We purposefully, like, all she wanted to do on her date was literally go get some pastries, a coffee, and take the scooters all around San Diego. I mean, she flipping loved it. But it's easier to ride a scooter than it is a Segway.
Yeah. That's a good point.
So, not to interrupt the broadcast, but something weird is happening. It's interesting. Pat, have you ever seen this feature on YouTube? And it's going to give me, since we have a lot of entrepreneurs on our channel, I'm going to give you a marketing idea that just popped in my head. Have you seen that right now people are sending money? Look. This message right here, I'm pointing to it, Pat, here. $49.99. Some guy paid to highlight this in pink to say, Josh, you're the man. Greetings from Paradise Valley. And I don't know if you see it on mine. Now, look, entrepreneurs, this just gave me an idea. I've never even seen this feature before on YouTube. But you know what you're smart to do? Go on major podcast where 10,000 people are watching live, or your segment, your market. Yeah. And that's a pretty cheap way to advertise to an entire chat channel. Let me just hold this up and see if the camera is able to get this. So this is a new YouTube feature. And
Rogo Corp.
A guy named Rogo Corp, obviously in Paradise Valley, as the camera's panning to it right now, just paid $49.99. I didn't even know that you could do this, to highlight his comment, bright pink, in the comment section. If you got a business, boy, what a smart way. Go on some podcast and just start spamming the comment section with $50 comments. And
it's a cheap way of getting a lot of publicity and marketing. That's a good point.
That's brilliant.
I didn't even think about that. By the way, I don't know if you guys heard or not. Liverpool won Premier League today. They're officially Premier League champions.
That was a great segue into the sports world.
That's a great segue.
Touche.
By the way, score 2-1. This is the first time it's happened in 30 years. So shout out to the folks out there in the soccer world. Are you a big soccer guy yourself or no?
I'm not a small soccer guy, but I'm not a big soccer guy.
Are you a fan? You follow any of it? Are you a World Cup?
So I
football.
It's going to be tough for you to believe, but I actually used to play soccer. Now I have. So let me tell you this quick story because it has.
You were the goalie.
So I happened to be the goalie, but what happened was
6'1", 350. I'm the goalie.
So I grew up in a high school that had a large Assyrian population, Pat. And
shout out to all the Assyrians.
All of the Assyrians belonged to the German club, but the German club actually had a soccer team that would represent the school in a bunch of invitationals. So all the Assyrians joined the German club. I happened to be in the German club, and they were one player short. So guess who got stuck at goalie? I could not tell you what happens anywhere else on the field, and I was responsible for us losing our last and final game, which would have sent us to actually go play a team in Germany. But
what happened? What'd you do? You were responsible for losing the last game as the goalie. What'd you do?
Well, I gave up a goal. I mean, let's just be
all
honest.
right, you're the goalie.
But
so when you go ahead.
I mean, the Assyrian community was extremely kind and gracious to me, considering that I was the only non-Assyrian on the team. They knew that I wasn't much of a soccer player, but I was filling a position for them. I gave it my best shot for about 10 games. And
respect.
Yeah, you know.
So you said I could either be the one of the guys running up and down the field, or I could stand right here.
Yeah,
I'll just stand right here.
The only thing that sucked is most games were shirts and skins, and of course, you know, yeah, I'm not exactly like fit.
We don't call him big sexy for nothing.
Yeah.
I got a soccer story for you. So I'm in Barcelona. We're at Barcelona, and it's 2008. 2008. My wife and I were not married yet. We were dating, and we go to Barcelona to watch Espanyol play Barcelona. Okay, so we go to this match, to the stadium, and we're with a couple of our friends, and a couple of our guys wear Barcelona jerseys. As you're walking up, cops come up and they say, "Look, where are you guys from?" I said, "We're from America. I suggest you take that jersey off. Tonight's Espanyol night. You shouldn't wear this, and you guys can only go in this fenced-off section that we went to." Okay. So we go in, he takes his jersey off. Literally, he takes off his jersey off, takes his jersey off. We go back there, fenced off, and we start watching a game. Game starts, okay? First half, 1-0 Barcelona's back. Barcelona should crush Espanyol, okay? Second half, okay? Messi scores a goal. The score's 1-1, tie game, okay? Stoppage time, 4 minutes and 30 seconds. It's stoppage time. At this point, they're throwing firecrackers down at Barcelona fans. We're in the Barcelona section. A guy comes and knocks out one of our friends, okay? Flat out punches this guy in the face who's a black belt guy. He didn't fight back. He didn't do nothing. I punched the guy back, okay?
You did?
I punched him back. My wife, I'm like, something's about to happen.
Now PPD's in Barcelona getting it in.
In Barcelona, then we're walking down. 4 minute 30, all they're saying is Messi shouldn't score a goal. If he scores a goal, tonight's going to be dangerous. 10 seconds left on stoppage. You should look it up on ESPN with this. 10 seconds left. Guess what Messi does? He goes all the way down. They can't stop him. By the way, his speed against everybody else, not even close. Scores the goal. It's going off. All of a sudden, you see the fans losing it. Going in. Helicopters. We're escorted out. On our way out, fight. It took us 3 hours to get back to the hotel that night. But we had a chance to watch Messi play. That was one of the games, one of the sickest games ever. By the time we got home, cops, security, it was terrible. And then obviously we went back to watch the El Clasico a couple years ago at Madrid, which he scored his 500 goal. It was Barcelona. You have Ronaldo going up against Messi. It's a crazy experience over there because soccer's a religion in Europe. It's a whole different story than it is here.
Are you a big soccer guy?
I'm a diehard fan of soccer. I just don't have the kind of time I used to have.
Dude,
so
like I did before.
It's number one sport for you is baseball. You've already said that.
Baseball.
Is soccer number two? Where you at?
I would say watching is probably going to be basketball second. You know, it's basketball, football, baseball. Then you got soccer. So it's top four. Hockey's definitely not there. But
what about you, Josh?
Look, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't watch soccer. I do play it sometimes on the PS4 with the kids.
Yeah.
Okay, that's about as close as I get.
If you play it, you're playing goalie. If you're not watching it, or you're playing it on the video games.
But bro, if you think Oakland Raiders fans are crazy or Cleveland Brown, like the old days with the dog pound, and there's a lot of stories. In fact, Ron Wolfley actually tells a story about him.
By the way, just hang tight. But guys, if you can comment and let us know how the audio is. Some people are still saying there's no sound. John used letting us saying there's no sound. Some people are saying there's sound. If you can let us know, can you hear us, yes or no? Paul, what is going on with the sound right now?
I'll take your phones off just 1 second.
Take our headsets off.
All right, we're fixing the sound, ladies and gentlemen.
Give us 1 second, folks.
There it is.
All right, let's see if this makes a difference. Okay. Good now? You want us to test or no? Test? Or should be better?
All right, guys.
Okay, let us know if this is better now.
The sound works. They're saying sounds great.
Sounds good here. Okay.
Thanks, everybody.
Let us know if it changed now that we switched it, because it says one-sided, mono works, audio is good. It's good now. It's low. We're good. Sound is great. Yes, just the left side, only one side. Okay. All right, we'll see what we got here in the comments. We'll be watching all of you guys. Thanks for being patient with us, guys, as we're going through this. So, okay, so that's the shout-out we had for Liverpool, but let's continue a little bit more with some of the other topics. Let's talk about what happened with LeBron James and Maverick Carter today. They got funded $100 million to start their own media company, right? What do you think about that? What's LeBron James trying to do? Here's the greatest basketball player in the world today, right? He's got so much following. He's got so much loyalty. He's probably most involved in politics as the face of a league. Michael was never like this. Magic wasn't like this. Kobe wasn't like this. Shaq wasn't like this. LeBron is hardcore involved in politics, social events. What do you think is LeBron James and Maverick Carter's long-term vision?
So look, I'm going to be the first to say that I have never liked LeBron James.
Okay.
Ever, period, zero, zilch, nada, zippo, okay? However, I like this move particularly, and I'm going to tell you why. Because even though you guys know that I've got my disagreements with the BLM protest and the way that they're going around it or about it, the one thing that I have to say about what LeBron James is doing here is, number one, he and his investors are putting their money where their mouth is, and he's doing something that I believe is a positive step. So he's saying, okay, I see change that I want to see made, and he's actually going out and making it instead of, inciting more, as we're going to get into the Bubba Wallace situation. So if I have to choose between what Bubba Wallace does and the overreaction, et cetera, or what LeBron James does, where he says, you know what, we're going to step up and we're going to give the black community voices, I'm 1,000% for that, okay? Even though I don't particularly care for LeBron James as an athlete, as an individual, I actually think he made the right move here. He did something positive.
So for some people that are wondering, why don't you care for him as an athlete and an individual? Why is that?
So, look, I don't care for some of the political statements that he's made.
Okay.
Obviously, I'm standing on the other side of the aisle. I've watched some interactions that he's had and have heard stories from mutual friends that have had interactions with him. I'm really into what I would call the humble superstar. The stories that I've heard just haven't resonated with me as far as I'm sure you can kind of get the picture, like just not having
Politically or not being humble?
No, just in brushing people off and being rude.
But that
and
same
being
reputation
arrogant.
for Kobe and same reputation for Mike. All three of them had it. I would say the only superstar at that level who's the number one player in the league who didn't have that is probably Magic Johnson.
Okay, but let me,
So is it more politically to you, or is it more as the way he leads his team and his organization?
Okay, so I'm extremely clear. He and I stand on different sides of the aisle. Okay, but let me say this: is you and I in our perspective fields are towards the top of our game, particularly you. Okay, you've got a huge following, people, but every time I've watched you interact with people, or I'm sure you've seen me interact with people out at restaurants that come up, hey man, like the one thing both of us do is we stop, we take time with people, we're kind, we're like, there's no brushing people off, like
Yeah.
just the stuff that I've seen. Now, granted, 1 million more people want LeBron James time than want mine, so it is what it is. Maybe 1 billion more people.
Listen, here's what I can tell you about LeBron. Guys who have been his teammates, there are more guys who have liked being his teammate than Kobe and Mike. And by the way, I'm not a LeBron fan either. I'm a Kobe guy, I'm a Mike guy. But more people enjoyed being LeBron's teammate than they've liked being Jordan or Kobe's teammate. LeBron was around the players. A lot of times, if you even watch The Last Dance, that room in the back, Mike was always by himself. He wasn't around the other players. It was always like, Mike, hey, you're not in my league to be around me. Probably Mike had it even more than LeBron's got it. LeBron was cool being around everybody. Mike wasn't. Politically, different story, what he said to Trump and, hey, Steph Curry, hey, chump, when he called out Trump and all that stuff. I can see that part. But what do you think? What do you think about his plays right now with media? Do you think there's a longer motivation with what he's trying to do?
Well, number one, I wouldn't say I'm a LeBron guy, but compared to where you're at, I'm a LeBron guy.
But if you're not, but you are a LeBron guy.
I mean, speaking.
You're
I'm
Miami
like
Heat.
you asked. We talked about sports
Yeah.
earlier. I'm a big basketball guy. Basketball, and then maybe a little bit of football, and maybe throw some soccer and stuff in there. So I'm a big Miami Heat guy, a big Dwayne Wade guy. Obviously, LeBron came and played for the Heat for 4 seasons, won 2 championships, lost 2 championships, but I have friends. I have good friends who are actually good friends with LeBron. who only have good things to say about him being a teammate. Let's just start with him as number one as a basketball player. Other than Jordan, he's number two. No, I mean,
who's number two?
LeBron.
In most people's eyes, he's top 5. Some people's eyes, he's second best.
Politically, let's just put politics aside. Would you agree he's one of the greatest ever, if not number 2, number 3? I know you're not a big basketball guy.
I would say 3, but yeah.
Okay, so he's in the top 3.
Yeah.
So we're not even going to argue. We're not even going to go there. We also agree that he's made stupid amount of money.
Yeah.
And he could do whatever he wants with his money. And if he feels that he wants to take his money and, like you said, put his money where his mouth is and do something that he believes in and starts a media company, what's wrong with that? He could do.
What's his motive, though? What's his motive? What is he doing it for, long term?
Well, I think anything he does is for legacy. No,
you think it's just legacy?
Pat.
Well, he wants to make a difference. No,
I don't think that's.
Hold on,
you don't
Pat.
think he wants to make a difference?
I think I know where Pat's going.
I think I'm going to a completely different
Where
place.
you going?
Hold on.
Where you going?
Hold on.
Tell me.
Do you think he has political aspirations?
I think 100% he does.
Oh, I guessed it.
I think he has 100% political aspirations.
Okay.
Let me explain to you why.
He's planting some media seeds.
I think. Listen. I think history books. Hear me out when I say this here. The greatest basketball player of all time, in my opinion, is Michael Jordan. Now, some can dispute it.
I agree.
But it's Michael, and I think after watching The Last Dance, a lot of people are agreeing more than ever before. The argument's at least over with for 20 years until LeBron's The Last Dance documentary comes out, whatever you want to call that, right? Okay. But for today, it's Michael, right? Okay. What's the legacy going to be about Michael when he dies? I think the legacy about Michael is going to be the greatest basketball player of all time, most competitive, killer instinct, et cetera, et cetera.
Period.
Okay. What's the legacy of Magic? You know, great teammate, fun, Hollywood, all that. What's the legacy of Bird? Chippy, not afraid, would fight you. He could have back pain. What's the legacy of Barkley? What's the legacy of Shaq? What dominant? Every one of these guys has a legacy, right? But for most, it's just going to be sports. I don't think for LeBron it's going to be sports. I think LeBron has plans of one day being the president of the United States. And I think LeBron, and you have to realize this. Let me ask you a question. I'm going to ask you a weird question here.
Yeah.
Who will be a president first? Dwayne Johnson or LeBron James? Who will be a president first?
Option A.
You think Dwayne Johnson?
Over LeBron? Yeah.
I would 100% agree with Adam. We found something
We
we
agree
agree
on.
on.
By the way, this isn't about who you would like. It's not like.
No.
This is about who do you think will be the president.
I'm going to tell you why I think Dwayne Johnson, okay? Because there's a lot more fans of movies than there are sports fans, or at least particularly NBA fans, particularly a lot of these players, if they're not on your team, you tend to hate them, right?
Ooh.
So I personally didn't like Kobe and didn't root for him because I was a Sacramento Kings fan when I was a kid, and then I was a Phoenix Suns fan, and he slaughtered both of us. So you don't like them until their last game. Like, I rooted for Kobe in his last game, and then obviously his tragic passing. Like, I think he goes down as number 2, to be honest with you, over LeBron. I do have to say
You think
this.
Kobe goes down as number 2?
Yes.
Okay.
Dwayne Johnson has a much larger fan base than LeBron James does because a lot more people go to movies, and I think that he has a much higher and Dwayne Johnson hasn't gotten political. LeBron James has gotten political. I think Dwayne's somewhere a little bit more in the middle.
I'd love to hear Pat's perspective on this. I'm just going to give you a little fun fact real quick. I just checked something real quick. We'll just talk about Instagram followers right now. Do you have any idea where The Rock is, Dwayne Johnson, Instagram follower account versus LeBron's?
Rock is at 160, 170 million. What's the number? I don't know
And
the
where's
exact
LeBron?
number. I'm going to put LeBron at 60, 70 million.
You're
188
close.
million.
188 million, The Rock.
Yep.
LeBron, 65 million, I'm
65
guessing.
million.
67 million.
Okay.
So triple.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
What's your point, though?
I'm just saying, as far as you brought up a
Okay,
couple
let
good points.
me ask you
Movies,
this.
sports.
Let me ask you this. Forget about whether you agree with their policies or not. Who is more crystal clear about politically where they stand, LeBron or The Rock?
Ooh, I would say LeBron is
There you go.
crystal clear
Crystal
of who
clear.
he is.
Okay, what would
Rock,
you say?
we don't know.
I would definitely say LeBron's more crystal. I mean, look, he's made far more incendiary comments that let you know where he's at. But do you think that someone that was ultra left is more likely to get elected, or do you think that somebody like The Rock, who's kind of center. He's center. I don't know if he would be center left or center right because a lot
Is
of
LeBron ultra left?
yes.
Or is he just left?
Well, so for me, he would be ultra left.
Well, Josh, for you, anyone is left. Is ultra left. I mean,
No,
real
but,
talk.
but that's a good question, though. Is he ultra left?
I wouldn't
And if
say
you
he's
say ultra left,
ultra-left.
define ultra left. What is ultra left? So is he Elizabeth Warren?
No.
I would say that he probably well. So this is a funny question because this is where a lot of the left is a little bit interesting because a lot of these celebrities, they like the ideas of the left, they just don't like paying the left's taxes. So they're left. A lot of them are extremely far left when it comes to issues that are social, but a lot of them are secret conservatives or at least capitalist when it comes to issues financial.
Well, let's talk about our black friends in America. What percentage of African Americans vote Democrat?
88%.
88%.
Yep.
Right? What percentage would call themselves liberal or conservative?
Out of the what? Out of the
So-
88%?
So yeah, no, I'm just saying. So out of the
88% is liberal. They
88% vote Democrat.
Yeah.
But if asked, are you more liberal or conservative, is a different question.
So
So here, a little fun fact for you. Here we go.
here it is.
I mean,
This is
we
what we're
like
waiting
facts.
for,
You want me to do
right?
homework? We're going
Yes.
to do some homework.
I
Here we
love
go. Little Jane Fonda stretch. What's going on there?
Yeah, go ahead.
47% of African Americans would call themselves liberal. 45% would call themselves conservative. So 50-50. So what's my point? 8% would call themselves moderate. So the black Americans.
Where did you get that data from? And how many people were there polled?
These are
Stats from where? Where'd you get the stats? Is that from
This
is
is
that
from
like a
leftyleft.com.
leftyleft.com?
No,
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. I'm
Okay,
gonna get you. I'm gonna get you
but-
that. This is from I believe.
But I want to see your
538.
point. What is your point?
So I'm just saying, there's a big difference between being a Democrat versus being liberal.
okay, here's
Right.
We've gone a complete different direction. Let's stay on the topic here. Here's my question to you. How left is LeBron? Is LeBron Elizabeth Warren? Is he Barack Obama? Or is he AOC?
I would personally say he's somewhere between Barack Obama and Bernie Sanders. So
Oh, you think he's at the Bernie Sanders level?
no. I said between Barack Obama and Bernie Sanders. So I would say
I disagree.
maybe because I would say a little bit right of Elizabeth Warren.
I would say he's somewhere
Okay.
between Barack Obama and Michelle Obama.
That's a kind of rough thing you just pointed out right there, but let's stick to this
All
here.
right,
Okay.
Pat, but ultimately, let's get this back to
Yeah.
you. You've got a strong opinion on The Rock.
I don't know. Here's
No?
Here's what I think is going on. Let me give you an idea what I think is going on. Okay. So Rock did a video a couple weeks ago saying, "Where are you?" And he opens it up. He's dressing it. Where are you? Where are you? And he's like,
Addressing Trump, right?
honest, I'm not gonna lie to you. When I watched it first, I thought it was a movie. What do you call it? Like a
hostage
movie
video?
scene. I thought he
It
was
was
doing
so
a movie scene.
overacted.
I'm like, where are you? I'm like, oh shoot, he's got a new movie coming out because I've been starving for a new movie. I'm like, hell yeah, Rock's got a new
Dude,
movie.
Where's My Car? Starring The
Cannot
Rock.
wait to go watch the movie. But no, this was a message he was directing to President Trump, and it got
boy.
like 15 million views. Right? Where are you? And I watched it, and I'm like, you know what? To me, here's how Rock comes across. Let me give you an idea how Rock comes across. I get a feeling Rock is diehard American. He's pro-military. He's pro-America. He's pro-flag. He's pro-First Amendment, pro-Second Amendment. He's pro-everything that America stands for, but he's in an industry that he can't be too vocal about it, which is Hollywood. Okay?
He can't be too vocal about being
it.
American?
He cannot be too vocal about being pro-military, pro-this. I think The Rock is more center-right, is what he is.
Okay.
I think he's center-right, but in an industry that you cannot be vocal about it. So The Rock cannot be as vocal about his belief system as LeBron can. LeBron can because in NBA, Adam Silver is all about, hey, what belief system do you have? Go for it and
Player
say it.
empowerment.
Chris Broussard made a couple comments a year and a half ago. The guy was suspended you couldn't see
Haven't
him
even
for a
seen him
while.
since.
Well, he's back because his positions have changed, but when he said what he said.
Okay.
So to me, in a way, Rock is struggling with one thing. Here's what I think he's struggling with. So when Trump didn't run for office, people liked the guy. When Trump wasn't running for office, Trump was apprentice. He's fired. He's on WWE. He's on NBA. He's throwing this. He's on this show. He's on that show. He's with Snoopy. He's with everybody. Trump was with everybody. He was the guy people wanted. He's on Oprah Winfrey, this guy, you know, hey, real estate, I want to grow up to be like Trump. I want to grow up to be a real estate agent. The moment he ran, boom. And then he came out and kind of did everything like you do in New York. People said, wait a minute, we can't support you, right? I think The Rock fears that. I think The Rock is a guy that really cares what people think about him. And in a personality quality, S-T-A-R, S being somebody that's organized, T being somebody that's technical, A, somebody that's action-oriented, R, somebody who's relationship. I think Rock, to me, is a A-R type of a guy. Very competitive, sports guy, bodybuilding, you know, doing this. I'm going to go out there and take over the world. But I do think he's got an R as a second thing, where I think Trump doesn't have an R. I think Trump's R is last. Trump's not about relationship. Trump's about A, it's about tactics, it's about strategy, and then it's R. Everything's about, you know, his relationship thing is last. So for me, I don't know if for Rock, a lot of people want to see him run for office. I'd love to see him run for office, but I think internally he's sitting there saying, if I run for office, many of you who were my friends, you may not like me, because if I really publicly tell you how I believe, what my belief system is, I'm probably going to lose 40% of my base. And I don't think he wants that to be his legacy, because you look at the world. When you go to a Smithsonian, there's a part in Smithsonian where they show Lincoln's face. And what you do is you turn. I don't know if you've been there to the Smithsonian when you look at Lincoln's face. Have you seen that?
Yep.
You go to Smithsonian and they say start walking this way. And you literally move, and it shows how much Lincoln aged in 8 years. And this is there was orange tanning stuff to put on your face. You know what I'm saying? And you see Lincoln goes, you're like, oh my God. He looks like he's about to die. If you become a president, when you become a president, you practically are saying, I am no longer going to be able to enjoy the rest of my life.
I mean, look at Obama. He went from,
Young,
straight dark hair
svelte,
to silver fox.
I don't know.
Quick.
This is why I think LeBron is probably more likely to become a president way before Rock is.
PBD, I would love for you to break down that STAR thing. That's the first time I've ever heard that.
Yes, please. S is people who are like you're an S. When I come to your desk, everything is organized, you're structured, you're organized, you freak out. If something gets dirty, you got to clean it. Structured. Systematized.
Yes.
T is somebody who is technical. These are people that are about data, numbers, stats, extremely analytical. They want to analyze everything, you know. You need to explain it to them. Everything needs to be clear. It's very, very technical. So they're T's. Then you got A's. A's are about taking over the world, competing. Who can we beat? Let's go kick his ass. Stand for? Action oriented. You know.
That's you.
That's me.
Sure.
Yes. And then you have R. R. Those are like, Adam, how's everything? How's your family doing? Everybody good? How are the kids?
Well, that's you too, no?
That's me too. So you got a little bit of R as well. So, but you typically have one that's the dominant one, and you go down.
I'm an R.
I think
with a little bit of an S.
I think Trump's last one is an R. I think Trump's last one is an R. I think Trump is somebody.
He's just clearly an A. There's no structure to what he's doing.
There's a lot of tactics and strategy and negotiation.
Technical?
He's strategic. As he's structured, it's more the S. So he's AS.
Strategic.
He's probably AS.
ASS. I agree.
I think he's an AS.
We got it.
Hey,
so that's what I would tell you about LeBron James.
Before we go into our next topic,
that'd be a good vote. Who people would vote for?
Actually, you know what? Yes, absolutely.
You want to vote for The Rock?
So Rock or LeBron James, who becomes a president first? Let's see your comments here, by the way.
Who would you vote for?
And while we're waiting for you guys to vote, I'm going to be sending a T-shirt of Valuetainment. In fact, we're going to send you an I Love Capitalism T-shirt to Hawk Roa, who I think has one of the best comments, because even though some of the people were complaining about sound, okay, he said this: my left ear is enjoying this so much.
He's on the left. He's on the left. I like this guy.
To me, I think that comment wins the beginning. Also, guys, we are going to be placing a phone call to a few of you and talking to you guys. But let us know who you think. Boy, everyone's saying
Rock.
Dwayne Johnson.
It's not even a contest.
Yep.
Rock.
Do
Okay.
you smell?
We'll see. We will see what's going to happen. You know, LeBron's building plans of building a media company similar to what Bloomberg did. So think about it this way. Imagine if LeBron owns Bloomberg. The difference is Bloomberg is 5'2" with no personality. Right?
True.
LeBron is 6'9" with a lot of personality, and he's a celebrity. If you look at Bloomberg, here's a man worth $70 billion, and maybe a couple 100,000 people follow him on Twitter, okay? You got that kind of money, but you can't buy following.
Yep.
You can have all the money in the world, but you have to be charismatic and charming, right? LeBron's charismatic and charming, so is Rock. LeBron's going from the route of building a media company, and he's telling everybody politically where he stands. Rock is just kind of being like, no one knows politically where I stand. I kind of want to be this way because I don't want to get involved. Jordan's never going to get into politics because he never wanted people to know. By the way, some people may say, well, Rock reminds me of Trump. No, he doesn't. Here's why. Trump would buy a full page on USA Today, New York Times, and say, what President Bush did is wrong, and we should have never gone. Rock will never. Can you ever picture Rock buying an ad in New York Times saying the fact that a president did something wrong?
Well,
it's just not going to happen. It's not part of his.
In all fairness, he did a video. He did a video calling Trump out. I mean,
where are you? Is that where are you?
But Pat felt like it was almost like a hostage video. Like they were like,
I
the
thought
liberal
it was
media.
a movie.
I thought you go film this video.
I felt like
okay,
MSNBC, CNN was standing behind saying, okay, here's a script, read the teleprompter, and he was going based out the teleprompter.
Where are you?
I'm
Cameras
telling
right
you,
here.
I know great bodies, okay, but I have one of the greatest bodies in the whole world, okay? The Rock.
Okay, we got an update here. Tell us.
Pat, we'd like to try one more thing. We're going to switch a cable.
Sure. Okay, tell us which one it is.
Everybody stay still.
Okay.
All right, guys.
Take off
We're
our
switching.
Okay, Pat, you're
How are we
Okay,
now?
are
Can we
you guys able
ask
to
our
hear us?
audience if you can see us now or hear us now? Just let
People
us
are
know.
saying that's better.
No, they're saying no sound, no audio. LeBron is
I'm
a
back.
phony, no
I'm back
sound.
now.
I tried
Check
to
1,
warn
2.
you. Sound is gone, no sound, no sound.
Boo.
Just tell us if
How
you
about
can
now?
hear
How
us,
about now? How
yes
about
or
now?
no. That's all we need to know if there is sound.
We got two now.
Do we have it now or no?
You have it now? Do you
I mean, I can hear myself. I just need to, you need to tell me. So do we know what the mistake was?
There was a problem with this cable.
How did we make that mistake with that cable? Did we test it before or no?
We tested it. It may have,
Okay, people are saying
it may have gone out while during the thing, Pat.
people are saying it's back. People are saying it's back.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Sound is back. Okay, we're back. All right, folks. If you're back in, we got a lot of topics to go through. You know what? Why don't we go to Bubba Wallace next? If you're listening to this, I highly suggest you send this. Share this with others. If you're a Valuetainer, if you're following somebody that if you're a diehard Valuetainer, you've been with us for a while, share this link, text it to other people, tell them we're live because we're about to take some calls, make some calls, and at the same time, we are going to go into our next topic. So let's talk about Bubba Wallace, NASCAR, news, no news. FBI comes back and says none of that was real. It didn't happen. What are your thoughts?
I think you said the key thing right there. No news is good news.
No news is good news. Touche.
Yeah. He juicy Smollett. He juicy Smollett.
Okay, guys, look, for those of you obviously that have been watching the sports world, you have seen all of the drama that happened. It actually started by Bubba Wallace, quote unquote, finding a noose in his driver's bay. Of course, he came out, he said it to the press. I think we're going to be getting into whether or not he overreacted. And then they bring in the FBI, 15 agents, all come down to the raceway and do an investigation, only to find out, ladies and gentlemen, that this was not a noose that had been planted there. Now, mind you, the next NASCAR race, all of the drivers come out in a show of solidarity. They push him to the front. They pose for a selfie. People cry and hug each other. And there's this whole kind of kumbaya moment, only for the FBI, after getting there, to tell people, yeah, this is not a noose. This is a garage pool, and it's been here since 2019.
It was fake news.
Pat, what do you think? You think he was overreacting? What's your
So here's where my thoughts are. By the way, we got news today with the 3 North Carolina cops today that got caught
Horrible.
saying what they were saying. I read the whole
Disgusting.
manuscript, and I don't know if you've read the actual words of what was said on North Carolina cops. talking about the fact that what we need is
we need another civil war, and then
we need another.
Absolutely
A bunch of expletives that refer to African Americans. I mean, just some absolutely disgusting stuff. Those guys, undoubtedly the right move to fire them. I don't know that there's anything prosecutable, but those are definitely guys that should be embarrassed and ashamed to show their face ever again in public.
So it's fair to say that these guys are getting fired. All three of them got fired, yes?
Yes.
And they said, I mean, you have to go read it for yourself to know what it is. It's terrible what they said. Now, here's the thing. Here's my challenge with this. Let me tell you what my challenge with this is, okay? Here's a challenge I face with this. So Jussie Smollett comes out and he says, in the middle of the night, in the streets of Chicago, two guys, African guys with MAGA hats come out and they're screaming MAGA, and then boom, they're beating them up, all this other stuff. And then he goes back, goes on Don Lemon. This is a time when we're having a lot of issues in America. Is crying on Don Lemon. Don Lemon's getting emotional. Everybody and their mothers gets on Twitter saying, I cannot believe this is what happened. And even President Trump said, it's absolutely embarrassing what they did to Jussie Smollett. We're investigating it. Trump tweeted this out saying what he said about Jussie Smollett, except for one person. One person didn't come out and say anything.
Who's that?
Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
Chappelle didn't say anything. Chappelle said, I don't know if I'm buying this. I don't know if I'm buying this. I don't know yet. By the way, same thing happened this time. Guess who didn't come out and say anything? Dave Chappelle didn't say anything about Bubba Wallace. He just kind of stayed back, okay? Which means on Dave Chappelle's next special, Bubba Wallace is officially going to have a bit.
Oh,
so he needs to know that part, okay? Congratulations, Bubba Wallace. Dave Chappelle got some content from your story on what you did. But this is my problem with Bubba Wallace. Here's my problem with Bubba Wallace. I believe Bubba Wallace, after FBI investigated what he did, I believe Bubba Wallace needs to be fired and suspended immediately. Wow. Absolutely. Let me explain to you why. When I was growing up, I was talking about this early with our staff because, you know, we're doing what we're doing today, and I gave a message to them about what took place. When I was growing up, I watched my mom. She'd come at home, 6 o'clock, her aunties would come over. And I was 6, 7 years old. And they were Armenian. And they would come over and they would have the coffee. And they would sit down for 2 hours before my dad came home, and they would talk about how many things my dad was doing wrong. And how she needs to tell him, your husband's not doing this. He's not doing that. And I would sit there and I would listen. I'm 6, 7 years old. I'm like, oh my gosh, why are they saying this stuff about my dad? And I'm acting like I'm playing in the background, but I'm listening to every single thing, right? And then my dad would come home, and the aunties would be like, quiet. It's like, okay, we're going to go home. The moment the aunties left, guess what my dad and my mom would do? They'd get into the biggest fight.
Yeah, argue like crazy.
Biggest fight, terrible fight. And I know what caused the fight. And I was furious, but I didn't know what to say. Then I would go with my dad, and I'd be around his two brothers who never got married, and they would say, this is why we never get married. You should tell your wife what to do. Your wife shouldn't be telling you this. They don't, because we're in Iran. In Iran, wife doesn't tell husband anything.
This is while you were in Iran,
This is while I'm in Iran, and I would watch my uncles fire my dad up, and I'm in the back playing Legos, and I'm listening. I'm like, oh my gosh. Then we'd go home, and my mom and dad would be together. Guess what my dad would say? I can't believe this, and you know, I'm a man, and you got to tell me. I'm like, ooh, that was sponsored by the brothers. And then guess what happened to my parents? They got a divorce. As a kid, when I was 10 years old and my parents got a divorce, if anybody's gone through a divorce and they were at one point together, the kid's dream is for the mom and dad to get back together. You're kind of hoping that this happens because it's a heartbreak. You want to go to dinner with mom and dad. You want to go experience what it is to be our mom and dad. You want dad's footsteps coming up. From 10 years old till 21 years old, I can count how many nights I slept in the same place as my dad. 200-300 nights. I didn't see my dad. My dad, I saw him once every 2 weeks. He would come and park behind Virgil's. I was living off of Duran and Glendale in Glendale, California. He'd pick me up. We'd go there for one day Sunday. I'd come back home. Once every other week, he would pick me up. We'd go to places together. The entire thing was instigated by their families. Most divorces are caused by friends and parents. Most divorces are caused by family. This is why when we got married, my wife and I sat my mom down the night before we got married, and I told my mom something. I said, Mom, effective today, you're the #1 woman in my life. Effective tomorrow, you are the #2 woman in my life.
Boom.
And that changes. And don't even think about getting into our family at all. And I said the same thing to my wife's family. I said, your daughter and I are going to have many fights, but it's none of your business.
Wow.
And I said to my dad, I said, if I ever come to you bitching about my wife, I need you to defend my wife. And I said to my wife, if you ever go to your parents and you bitch about me, they have to defend me. If not, we're going to get a divorce. And I don't know about this marriage stuff because it's very complex. No problem. What does that have to do with today? Here's Bubba Wallace, seeing what's going on in America, seeing how divided we are, the riots, the cops getting killed. George Floyd is being sat on for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. Dave Chappelle didn't try to capitalize right off the bat. He waited because he wanted to be a little bit more wiser to get all the information to come out. Then he goes, controls his emotions, gives a riveting 23, 27-minute message that I'm sure most people have seen, 20, 30 million views. If you haven't seen it, you got to go watch it. He calls out Candace Owens. He calls out Don Lemon. He calls out everybody on both sides. And it gives us message. Whether you agree with it or not, I applaud Dave Chappelle for having the wisdom to take time and come out and say what he did. Then you have people like Don Lemon, one of the worst guys on TV when it comes down to news. I can't do a lot of Don Lemon. There's a few people on Fox I can't do. There's a few people on CNN I can't do. Don Lemon's on that list. I cannot do Don Lemon because all he ever does is divides.
He's an instigator.
He is not an instigator. He's the divisive guy. An instigator is Don King. An instigator is Dana White. This is a divisive guy. He's a divisive guy. He wants to see divorce in America. The ultimate divorce is what's going on right now in America. So Bubba Wallace sees a chance and says, wait a minute, what if I go out there and I say this, then he gets a tweet, all the tweets that I have saved here to see who tweeted, and ESPN was showing everybody that tweeted that was supporting him. LeBron James came out. Brother, we're with you. Next person came out. We're with you. Next person came out. We're with you. Everybody came out. And the moment it comes out that the FBI did the investigation, guess who came out? Nobody. No one came out and said anything. What happened? I'm sorry. I thought you were upset. Oh, because now the narrative doesn't defend what your narrative is. Now you don't want to come out. Now it's double standard. What that tells me is all you're worried about is division. As long as the agenda moves on, you're good. Because the North Carolina story with what these guys did, I was watching a Young Turks lady. She was doing the what happened in Carolina. You should see how dramatic she is. And I can't believe this is disgusting, how the fact that cops can get away and they can be so violent, have these kinds of thoughts about other black. Yeah, you're right. But it's also disgusting what Young Turks does to divide America. It's disgusting what a lot of these people that are opportunistic to get some eyeballs divide America. So in my eyes, if NASCAR cannot do this today, they know they can't do this today because they look like fools. But if NASCAR, and I've been in NASCAR races many times. I've sat and drove a car with Carl Edwards going 188 miles an hour in Carolina, racing with his brother. It's the sickest experience ever when you go to. We used to go to, when I was with Transamerica, they would take us, I would sit right next to Jack Rouch, and I would wallow. Great experience when I was with that company going to the NASCAR races. But guess what? Bubba Wallace needs to be fired. Not just from NASCAR. He needs to be fired by everybody in America because he almost helped this thing get even out of control. Now imagine if this happens and some people that are emotional who don't go out there do their own research. We're emotional. And you find out that this happened, okay? You overreact. What if somebody overreacted and killed a cop? What if somebody overreacted and killed a couple innocent people? What if somebody overreacted and go killed a couple neighbors just because? What if an 18-year-old, a 17-year-old who doesn't know what's going on, doesn't do his research, overreacts, kills a father that's got 3 kids? What if that happens? Do we need to have more of those stories to validate that we need to figure out a way to address this racism issue? Do we need that? Do we need more people like this? I am not a fan of what Bubba Wallace is, and in my eyes, he's a divisive person, similar to a lot of people that want to see division in America. And I think he needs to be punished by being suspended, if not fully fired from NASCAR. But I highly doubt that it'll ever happen because NASCAR is too scared to make that kind of an example. Because in NASCAR's eyes, they are hoping to get customers from all the other side. And what if we get another, what if African Americans start watching NASCAR? And what, we can't say anything because we may upset the wrong crowd. But again, that's what I would be doing with Bubba Wallace. But I'm not running NASCAR. I'm running an insurance company. If I was running NASCAR, he'd be fired today.
Wow. So it's funny. They also made another move. They banned the Confederate flag or the rebel flag at all of NASCAR events. I think it was on a couple of cars actually that they had to take it off of. But obviously, there's always a lot of flags and stuff that are flown there. One thing that I did find actually interesting is a lot of people ended up wearing the rebel flag to the race, and one guy actually rented a plane and pulled like a 12-foot rebel flag behind him up and around the NASCAR track. Now, I guess my question is this. is, and I'm going to pose it to both of you guys. What do you think in America? So I think what happens is anytime that we have just an incendiary situation, everybody gets emotional. I think we all have that tendency. What do you think could happen right now, Pat, Adam, in whether it's in sports or whether it's in America? What could be the one catalyst to get everybody to calm down and talk this out? Like, what do you think could actually bring healing to the situation? Like, is there anything that could bring healing? Is there?
Watch Remember the Titans, man. Watch and unify. You know, we need more messages of unifying today. We need people to sit down. Like, I would love to see like basketball players and these people that are influencers bring people from opposite sides and sit there and start talking. I saw one that was done by Kai. Was it Vox that did a video? And they brought people that were pro-vaccine and anti-vaccine, and they sat there and went back and forth. It was like a 4 million view video, and the doctors were sitting there saying, here's where I'm at, and at the end they hugged, they shook hands, and they walked away. We need more videos like that of people sitting down when some who can't stand white people, and they're black, and some who are white, and they're racist, and bring them in, and let's have some conversations together. I don't think enough of that is happening, because if we really are the United States of America, who are the unifiers today? Again, let me ask this question from both of you. If we are the United States of America, name me 5 major names in America today that are trying to unify on either side. You're thinking about it. Just the fact that you're thinking about it is a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Name me 5 people in America today that are unifying. Give me 5 names.
Patrick BetDavid.
No, not
Adam Sosnick.
No.
Josh Feuerstein.
I'm actually being serious. No. Give me 5 names that are unifying right now. Josh, you follow politics heavily. Name me 5 names that are unifying right now.
That's the problem, is that they should come off our heads real quickly, but we're struggling to even figure it out.
But look, I think the issue is this, is anytime that you essentially start a war between both sides essentially entrench at their battle lines, and there's usually not a lot of conversation in the middle. It's more lobbing bombs. Like, so I remember back in church, believe it or not.
Kai, can you check, by the way, can you check to see if Xenia typed out the notes I had for her? Because I'm about to share some stats that's going to be staggering. If you can't see if she got it, go ahead. You were saying.
So there was a very convicting message that I heard as a kid called the Casualties of War. And it was actually dealing with churches that fight back and forth because of denominations and stuff. And the message just essentially talked about the fact that when two entities, let's say the United States and Japan, when they bomb each other, okay, oftentimes it's not the actual leaders that end up dying, but the casualties of war are usually innocent people. And so the whole idea is when we throw bombs back and forth at each other, that there's innocent lives that are eventually lost. Innocent people get damaged. I think that that's kind of the same thing here, is that you have two different people that are entrenched in different ideologies, and instead of sitting down and talking stuff out, and instead of having rational conversation, which actually brings up a good point. Adam the other day had a friend that had an opposing viewpoint to me. He got us both on the phone with what we thought would be a constructive conversation. Within 10 minutes, it went from civil to like us screaming at each other. But I think a lot of it has to do with people wanting to talk and not listen. And there's a huge difference between having a discussion and talking and actually sitting down and listening to the other side instead of just formulating what you're going to say.
But who is that today? You think Trump's a unifier? Trump's not a unifier.
Not at all.
You think Obama's a unifier? Obama's not a unifier.
No.
Give me a unifier. Who's a unifier?
Well, I can't think of a person, and that's the problem. I don't know if anybody thinks here, but I have an example of something that I think our country can look at and say, you know what, I like that. So my favorite part of an NFL football game? My favorite part of an NFL football game?
Halftime with the cheerleaders, I'm assuming.
That's it used to be. That's a great.
Snack bar's my favorite.
It's got to be his.
My favorite part? I mean, you're talking about a game for 4 quarters. These guys are smashing each other's face in. Primal emotions, hitting. The part that just like every time I see it, I go, you know what? Wow. After the game, opposing teams, they sit down in the middle of the field.
Pray.
They put their hands together. The Cowboys and the Giants, they hold hands, and they pray. And I'm not a big prayer guy. I don't even know what they're saying, but the fact that the symbolism of them sitting together, middle of the field, holding hands, just that's powerful to me.
Adam, are you struggling with something right now? Do we need to pray for you?
Let's pray, brother.
Hey,
let's pray,
Heavenly
brother.
Father, we'd
But
like to
it's
pray
just,
for Adam.
I think at the end of the day, it's so easy.
Yeah.
I'll give an example that happened with Josh and I. Speaking about Bubba Wallace, getting back to that, it's so easy to go with your gut instincts. It's so easy to say, "Oh, fucking these white supremacists, they put the noose in there." Blah, blah, blah. It's so easy to say that. It's a lot harder to take a step back and to do research and actually calm your emotions and formulate your own opinions based on facts. So I walked into Josh's office and I say, "All right, Josh, here we go," because we like having these debates. Well, I said, "Josh, you hear about this Bubba thing? They did it. They put the noose in there." And Josh blew my mind. Didn't even think of this. He goes, "You don't think it's maybe a little juicy smoulet?" And I said, "Whoa, I didn't even think that would even be an option. Didn't even think about that." My gut was like, "They did it. They put the noose there. That's it. It happened." And Josh said, "You know what?" And my initial instincts is like, "Look at this conspiracy theorist over here. Obviously, Alex Jones fans over here thinks it's a juicy smoulet." But look what happened. So I said, "You know what?" Something that triggered me is like, you know what? Not just going with my gut as much. It's actually sitting down, doing research, thinking it out. It's so easy to follow your primal instincts. It's a lot harder to take a step back, read, do research, and formulate your own opinions and not just go with your gut tells you to do.
And I've got to get a quick shout out. Actually, one of our editors, he's not in the studio at the moment, but there's a young black male that works here named Kyle, and phenomenal guy. Like from the first time that I met Kyle, I knew that, he was official like a referee with a whistle. This guy was just incredible.
So let's go to this though. Let's go to this. Somebody commented something. Were you going to say something real quick?
Yeah. Like, so the first time that he and I had a conversation, it was pretty emotional, and we're talking, and then both of us went away and we listened, and I genuinely took to heart what he said. He took to heart what I said, and when we came back for our second conversation, it was one of the most beautiful, incredible things. And honestly, I think that if America would do exactly that, just take time just to listen. Just listen and not just wait there for just waiting to respond. So
Stop going with your gut so much. Stop waiting to respond.
Let me ask you. A lot of people
and
right now are
out.
saying it is impossible in today's climate to have a synergist. Do you agree? It is impossible in today's climate to have unified.
Nothing's impossible.
Do you agree?
Nothing is impossible. I do not agree.
Actually, one guy said, it seems like Dr. Phil's trying to help America come back together.
Dr. Phil.
But do you think it is possible in today's climate to have a unifier?
There better be.
No, it's not better be. That's a different answer. Is there in today's climate a possibility to be a unifier?
No.
Tell me why not.
I don't know.
Because everybody is afraid that if they vote for a guy in the middle, that they're going to lose yards in their fight. So nobody wants to trust the guy that's standing in the middle, and so everybody wants to stand on their values so much that they don't want to give an inch. And if both sides are not going to give an inch, I would actually challenge people to go back and watch the story of Nelson Mandela. Okay, and that's a powerful story about a guy that was imprisoned and ends up coming out, forgiving his captors, and an entire nation, for the most part. There's still some issues in South Africa, but an entire nation was healed through one man's forgiveness. So I would, but do I think it can happen in America right now? I'm going to say probably not.
What do you think, Pat?
I think whoever decides to be a synergist today and he comes through, we will remember him for thousands of years. If there's ever been a time, by the way, somebody commented right now saying one black employee laughing my ass off, Pro Style 1. If they would have seen how many, the 30% of employees at this office are, but again, people like that, again, are divisive messages like that.
Actually, I wouldn't even say it's 30. It's probably closer to 50.
It's probably 50% of employees at home. But anyways, that's
so
a different
easy
story.
to be an internet troll.
But that's totally fine. Caucasians are minorities in our office, if you actually see the audience that we have here. But let me go back to it. Listen, to me, anytime there isn't something that is very difficult to do, like to try to find a synergist today. It's not an easy thing to do. It's not an easy thing to do. But that's exactly the time that if somebody does take that as their campaign and you're very vocal about it and you call out both sides and you call out both sides on what's doing right and wrong, and you're able to bring him in a room together and sit down and talk, and almost an approach of a mediator, I don't know. I think there's a market for it today.
Can you point to anybody?
I didn't say can I point to anybody.
But
I
I'm
think
asking you,
and by the way,
does anyone come to mind
here's
that is a synergist?
here's how the person cannot be. The person cannot be a John Kasich personality. You can't be like that because you almost have to have Trump and Obama's personality, except a belief that I'm going to figure out a way to make this work. Listen, guys, here, I need you to sit down and listen to me. Let's sit down and talk about this. I don't think if we're going in the direction like this, the people that are the most happiest right now are in Russia, and the people that are the most happiest right now are in China. Mm-hmm. The people that are most happiest of what's going on in America are not in America. Well, some of them are that are in America, but not all of them. A lot of other nations are watching the same.
I don't think it can be a politician. I think it needs to be somebody with
well, to that point,
with less political infusion in their lives.
Do you think it could be somebody, and I'm not saying Bob Iger, but like a Bob Iger, that would come in, build up a big company, either found a company and take it into the stratosphere, or take and build up on the legacy of someone else, but build a huge company and run on that platform that seems more apolitical, but people know him as being an entrepreneur? Like, do you think that that's the path to being able to stand in the middle?
A guy like Bob Iger?
Yeah, like not so much a Mark Cuban, because Mark Cuban has already taken political positions, but a guy more like Bob Iger, or I mean, throw some other names out there of entrepreneurs that have been somewhat apolitical, because Trump's always been political, whether he was on the left at one time or right.
It didn't matter. Yeah, he's always been political.
He's always made incendiary statements.
I think it's got to be somebody that everybody has something in common with this person. You know, the message of dreams. Okay, so for example, when's the last time somebody got up and talked about what people's dreams are? So what are people's dreams? Okay, because if you go back and bring it to the individual, anytime we've had issues in our office, we had an issue one time, 12 years ago in an office of ours, and I brought everybody into the office, and we sat down. Heated conflict in this office at that time. Things were problematic, terrible. I brought the key leaders in the office. I said, guys, I want to have a meeting with you. Everybody sat in, so I said, can you tell me why you chose to start a business? This is what do you mean? Why'd you start a business? Why'd you decide to go become an entrepreneur? So, well, I started becoming an entrepreneur because I wanted to, retire my parents. I said, really? Yeah. I said, okay, what else? Well, I decided to become an entrepreneur because I wanted to make my dad proud. Okay, how about yourself? I decided to become an entrepreneur because my wife and I have been married for 12 years, and for 12 years, I've never made more than $50,000 a year at my job, and I promised my wife I was going to take her to Italy. She's from Italy. She's never been there before. And every night I go to sleep laying next to my wife. I feel bad because I wonder if she's thinking about, how come my husband's not taking me to Italy? And does she compare me as a husband to other men who have delivered on their promises, like her sister's husband? And I'm sick of it. And I want to make my wife proud. Wow. And you see him getting emotional. How about yourself? You know what? I watch my daughter, and I see what happened to my sister. And my sister was forced to marry a schmuck because nobody in our family had money. He was making 30 grand a year. He treats my sister terrible, and there's nothing I can do about it. And I never want to walk my daughter down the aisle to marry another schmuck like my brother-in-law. Wow. I want to give her the option. One by one, we went through everybody's dreams. You know what happened by the end? Everyone in the room was in tears.
Had to be.
Everybody in the room was emotional. Now I said, here's the thing though. Can we say that all our dreams are different? Yes. But can we also say we all have dreams? Yes. And can we say that if we're divided, these dreams are probably not going to become a reality? Yes or no? Yes. I said, what if we come together and work together and see these dreams become a reality? And you could see faces turning. You could see people saying, you know what? Yes. Are you willing to compromise your ego with this guy that you have a problem with to do it for your daughter? Of course. Then compromise your ego. Are you willing to compromise the fact that you think you're always right? Are you willing to set that part aside and working together for your wife that goes to bed at night wondering why my husband hasn't taken me to Italy? I'm willing to do it. Are you willing to do it? Yes. I said, then let's come together. We came together. Fast forward the stories of a lot of these guys that were in the room. One of the guys' dreams, his mother had breast cancer. His name is George Palau. When I met him, he was 18 years old. His dream was, when his mother got breast cancer, when he called me, the guy was in tears, emotional. He lived in Palmdale at the time. Today, he's taken his family all over the world. His family's dreams have become a reality because we emphasized and we focused on what? Dreams. You got a Matt and Sheena Sapalo when I met these guys, and we focused on the dreams. You see what's happening with their lives, what they're doing with their families. I think we have gotten away from dreams and we're spending way too much time with nightmares. And you don't hear a lot of politicians talking about dreams. And that's a scary thought to me. It's a very simple language and we're just not doing it.
Pat, you have to do a video on that exact topic, dreams and nightmares.
I mean, we just did it right now. It's not even a script.
No. This is like a motivational.
But let me tell you,
this is huge.
But here's the thing: it's not even a motivational thing for me. I'm not trying to be a motivational speaker. I'm not the guy that on Instagram that wants to make these videos to get views just on motivation. What I'm saying to you, Josh, right now, it's in my bones. That's what I'm saying to you. 100%. So for me, if we can get a person that gets up on stage and says, "Listen, you're black, you're white." You're Asian, you're Middle Eastern, you're 20, 30, 40, 50, Democrat, Republican, Independent. Let me tell you what 10 things we don't have in common. Let's go through them. Some of you are pro-life, some of you are pro-choice. Yes? Yes. Who's pro-life? Oh, who's pro-choice? Oh, great. Set that aside. Some of you guys want us to put more money in the military. Some of you guys don't. Is that fair? Yes. Okay, great. Some of you guys want to have more health insurance. Some of you guys are saying it's costing too much money. Yes, yes. Some of you guys are for Planned Parenthood. Some of you guys are not for Planned. Is that fair? Some of you guys are for this. Some of you guys are for more cops. Some of you guys aren't. Is that fair? Yes. Now let me give you a list of 100 different things. You ready? How many of you guys here want to see your kids' dreams become a reality? Make some noise. Okay, great. How many guys would like to see your craziest fantasy, the place you want to go travel to when they become reality? How many guys? Yes. How many guys would like to live in that house in the cul-de-sac that you always tell your wife and your kids that one day we're going to live in that house in the cul-de-sac, and you come home listening to Sade, Cherish the Day, and you visualize listening and drinking this glass of red wine, Bordeaux, and while your family, how many guys have, yes, how many guys would like to have good conversations? How many guys enjoy a good meal? How many guys enjoy watching a good comeback in a football event? Alex Smith against Tom Brady, they're up 23 points and Tom Brady comes back and wins. You enjoy a good game. How many guys? You want me to continue? Do you realize I have a list of 1,000 things we all have in common? Why the hell are we so caught up on 9 things that are dividing America? Why are we doing that? What is this all about? So to me, if somebody who is born here, who can go become a president one day, gets behind this message that's in their heart, that's not an act, because you got to believe this. If you get behind a message like this and you win, I think 1,000 years from now, we're going to be talking about you.
I think we
speechless.
Yeah, I mean, people are going to watch that on YouTube. People are going to watch that video, and clearly they're going to be motivated. I think Josh and I sitting in front of you as you go off on that, and you can feel it. It is in your bones. Some powerful stuff there. I mean, crazy. What do you think, Josh?
Wise words from a wise man. All right, are we going to talk about Trump's executive order? Also, I know that we have people that we're going to be taking calls today. At what point do you want to get into the calls, Pat?
Well, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Let me ask you a question. You had an idea earlier with John Bolton's book. You said you have an idea, yes? Can you find out? We're going to try to see if this is going to work out or not. What is
Are we actually going to do this?
What is the locals Barnes & Noble's number in Frisco? There's a Barnes & Noble in Frisco.
The one in Beltline.
The one in Beltline?
Oh, my
Okay,
goodness.
so John Bolton came out with a book calling out President Trump, right? Can you give me the number there? Are they open? 5
Ladies and gentlemen,
p.m. It's closed. Give me another one. See if there's another Barnes & Noble Frisco. Type in Barnes & Noble Frisco, see if they're open. They got closed. Do we have any bookstore? Just put Barnes & Noble, Stoneborough. I'd like to see if we can pull this off.
Hang tight, ladies and gentlemen. We may have a special
Keep looking
guest
to see if a bookstore
who's going to be calling in here. This is a special guest.
By the way,
you do not want to miss this.
By the way, Target or Walmart, do they sell books? Do Target or Walmart sell books? Are they probably going to be selling John Bolton's books? Are they probably going to be selling John Bolton's books?
Oh,
yes
Lord.
or no?
Yes, probably so.
But are they going to pick up is the question, because sometimes it's tougher to get through it. Keep looking to see if a bookstore is open right now. It's 6 o'clock in Texas. We just learned that bookstores in Texas apparently close at 5 o'clock. So let's talk. While you're looking for this, I'm going to have Josh here talk to us about John Bolton. So John Bolton comes out with a book. It's coming out. I don't know if it's come out already or not.
It's coming out in the next couple weeks.
Okay, it's coming out in the next couple weeks. And it's getting a lot of attention because he's calling out Trump. He's telling in his book the fact that Trump went to China and sat down with the leadership of China and talking about the fact that, hey, can you invest in certain markets in America that I need to win those states? You know, can you do that to help me with the election? Bolton saying that's accurate. He says, I remember that happening, okay? He made a lot of different claims. I know you're following this story pretty closely. What are your thoughts about John Bolton's new book coming out?
First of all, let me say this about John Bolton. Okay, everybody makes fun of Trump's hair. Have you ever seen this guy's eyebrows? Like literally.
You're going with eyebrows?
Bro.
You're not starting with mustache?
Bro,
You're
no,
not. Your first thing is eyebrow, not mustache?
His eyebrows
Wow.
actually look like two mustaches independent of each other over his eyes. Look,
Human walrus.
Someone in his family's Armenian, that's for sure. Someone in his family's Armenian, because
Okay.
those are Armenian eyebrows.
so here's my entire take on it, okay? Is I always look for somebody's incentive to say something. And here's the one thing that I notice about a lot of these people. To me, is if you have a financial incentive to say something about somebody else, you're more inclined to remember stuff, and not just remember it, but remember it vividly and in such a bombastic fashion. And if you look at a lot of the stuff that John Bolton's saying, here's where I would believe John Bolton, or be more inclined. I would be more inclined to believe John Bolton if he didn't write a book about it and instead just did a tell-all 2-hour interview with...
Why is that? Why? Because he's making money on it?
Yeah, because he has a financial incentive to sell books. So this is the first thing that somebody that doesn't like the president or doesn't like... And I'm talking about Obama. I'm talking about anyone. Anytime that you have somebody that has been essentially broken up with... Okay, look, I'm sure we've all been broken up with. It's amazing how quickly you can turn from love to hate, right? Mm-hmm. Anytime that you feel jilted, humiliated, embarrassed, publicly shamed, which is exactly what happens when you get fired from the White House. I mean, there's nothing more humiliating than getting fired from a public position. And now, interestingly enough, as soon as you go to quote unquote tattle, all the people that hated you just a couple weeks ago now hail you as a hero. Okay, so a lot of these guys are somewhat narcissistic, and I would imagine that when you've got now the left that hates you because you've served in the Trump administration, and now you have the right that hates you because Trump's fired you, you're looking for somebody to like you. To me, the easiest way to do that is to go out, write a book, or say something that now gets other people to be like, oh, yeah, what a great guy. I'm hailing him as a hero. So to me, the fact that he's profiting off of it and the fact that it just seems like he's a jilted ex-lover, I'm kind of writing it off as probably bombastic.
Have you been following the story or not?
A little bit, but
Okay.
it reminds me. I don't know. I know what I knew about John Bolton was he was a big Iran hawk. That's what I associated with him. He's been calling for war with Iran for a while.
Longest time.
Longest time. That's the one thing I know
Yes.
about John the Walrus Bolton. But you know, we're going to bring in the best people, the brightest minds. I'm going to pick the best people. Like, he knew what he was getting when he brought John Bolton in. He knew, he had to know that. So it reminds me of what's the quote that Trump famously, the snake quote, where he's like, "You knew when you took me in that I was a snake." Yet he still brought him in, and we're shocked that John Bolton ended badly. Like, there was a reason he didn't bring him in the beginning. There was a reason that it ended badly.
Yeah.
Like, so ultimately, doesn't this kind of come down to Trump's decision making? Obviously, you're going to say no. However, we knew what Bolton stood for. We knew who he was. We knew he didn't change.
Yeah.
And now you're getting what you paid for. That's how I feel.
He's definitely had a lot of people come in and leave. And I think the part is the fact that maybe what he's struggling with, Trump, that he has to fire so many people, is he wants 100% of people to be 100% loyal to him with what he's used to because of what he's built with his brand. And it's a different level of loyalty in a corporate structure than a level of loyalty in a politics structure, because somebody could be loyal to him and they could still lose a job. Somebody could be loyal to Trump and still lose a job. So people are a little bit concerned on that end.
Look at the Comey situation.
Yeah, and the other
right?
side is the fact that everybody at that level has a big ego. Everybody at that level has a big ego. So you can't, you know, his ability to manage those big, massive egos, I don't think if that sits well with them. You know, I don't know if he's able to manage the big egos like a Bolton. Now, here's the other side. The challenge is he doesn't have a lot of credibility, John Bolton, with this book, because even Peter Schiff and even Democrats are not happy about this book coming out. So it's not just the right being upset with him. It's rights, left, middle, nobody is excited about John Bolton because no one's sitting there defending this guy. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Brett Baer was grilling him, wasn't he?
He was grilling him. Peter Schiff was grilling him. You know, not grilling him because he didn't interview him. Brett Baer was grilling him. But I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. But what I can say is I think Trump is not happy with this book being sold at bookstores. And I think we ought to call one of the bookstores and see if we can prank call somebody here. This is the only bookstore we found is in Irvine. So you're making a phone call to a bookstore in Irvine. And let's see what Josh is going to be telling these folks.
Guys, pay attention here. We're going to have a special
you
guest
gotta be
that's
quiet.
calling the podcast.
Josh
Here we
is
go.
taking the lead.
Barnes & Noble at Spectrum Center. Are you a Barnes & Noble member?
Yes.
Now is the perfect time to sign up.
That's not
When
a
you
real
sign
person.
up for a new
Come
membership
on,
in
buddy.
store,
All right, we're going to be doing a
you'll
prank call for
20%
those of you that are.
Oh, my gosh. Are they playing Hawaiian music? That's actually Hawaiian music.
All right, we're going to see if the
I'd
people
love
here.
to see if they pick
We're
up.
going to see if the people here at Barnes & Noble's pick up, and we're going to be prank calling them as Donald Trump. I think they're going to pick up quickly. It's not Donald Trump, but let's just see how they react.
Okay, can you do me a favor? Can you try to get a hold of them on your phone? And when you do, bring the phone in. Because if I listen to
Barnes
this...
& Noble Spectrum, this is Ariana. How can I help you?
Yes, Ariana, my name's Donald. I got a quick question for you. Is it true you guys got the John Bolton book is coming in?
Yes, we did receive some on Tuesday. We are already sold out, so I can put you on our reservation list for the next order that we have coming in for.
I'm telling you, I'd like to buy all of them, okay? I'd like to make sure they don't go to the public. I'm telling you, it's all a lie. It's a big lie. It's fake news, okay? So if you could just put them all on hold for Donald, okay? D-O-N-A-L-D.
Okay, so I will go ahead and do that. Did you want me to put down your phone number so we can call you when they get in?
Yes.
Okay, and what phone number would that be?
It's going to be 1-800-DONALD, okay? It's going to go straight to the Trump campaign.
1-800-Donald. Okay, so we'll give you a call as soon as we get them in.
Thank you so very much. Remember, don't sell them, okay? Thank you.
Of course. Bye-bye.
1-800-Donald.
And by the way, what's great about her is she's sitting there debating, saying, okay, I know this guy's full of it, but if I say anything, it could turn on me. So let me just be diplomatic about
amazing.
it. Good for
That
her,
was
by the
amazing.
way. Good for her for the way she handled it. But
I think we should actually send her a
incredible.
gift card.
we should send her a gift card.
Oh man, that's
That was just-
Let's get the people's perspective on Josh's Donald impression. That was amazing.
Oh my gosh, that was classic. Okay, so outside of that, I had some notes here. I watched this video this morning that I'm going to get to the notes here in a minute, but maybe we'll do that here in a minute. By the way, question for you. Okay, so cancel culture. I don't know if you guys are ready for cancel culture. Let's go right into cancel culture, okay? Jimmy Kimmel goes up and does this video saying he's taking a 2-month break, okay, from TV. Matt Damon is in a bedroom with his wife. Obviously, it's a spoof. Hopefully it's a spoof. It is Hollywood, so maybe it's real, but it's a spoof, right? Matt Damon comes out and his wife walks out. Matt is kind of like, hey, you've been here this entire time. I have been. He takes the break. He's not going to be doing what he's doing for 2 months. The Karl Malone issue that came up, and then a song came up with our buddy Jimmy Kimmel, okay? And the song is him dropping the N-word left and right. Horrible, right? And then Megan Fox does an interview with Jimmy, and Megan Fox talks about the fact that when she was 15 years old, you know, she was, Michael Bay brought her in and she did this one stunt. And at 15 years old, they couldn't do certain scenes because it wasn't allowed to, but you could pour water on top of you and, you know, it's still going to look a little bit sexy and et cetera, et cetera. And then Jimmy made a couple comments. I listened to it. It's not really that crazy of a comment, but, you know, cancel, you know, culture went off on Jimmy. And it's led to now other folks on podcasts. I even think Rogan came up with something with Joey Diaz, and some other names have come up. And I've listened to that one as well because everybody's sending the stuff to me. What are your thoughts right now with this cancel culture nation that we're living in?
So I think here's the one thing that we got to understand, okay, is that, look, every single one of us have done something stupid at one point or another in our life, okay? And especially now, and let me just say this, especially to all the young people, especially if there's any teenagers or young, like, guys, do not do the sort of stuff like all of this sexting and sending nudes back and forth, and these kids are taking pictures and stuff. This stuff lives on the internet forever, Okay, like this stuff is going to be around for a very, 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 very long time.
Adam, this is good for you. Go ahead.
Okay, so here's where I think it's a little bit ridiculous, is that what was acceptable, say 20 years ago, is maybe not acceptable now. I think that you have to go back and you have to look at the state of events at that time and say, okay, like if this happened 20 years ago, now I'm going to tell you personally, the reason I don't like it, and a lot of the other Americans, I think, respond with such vitriol, is guys like Jimmy Kimmel are the same guys that came out and condemned Donald Trump. Okay, so the minute that Donald Trump said something or was caught on audio with Billy Bush, they came out in strong condemnation. But guess what else surfaces with Kimmel is after he goes after Trump for the footage with Billy Bush, it comes out with Kimmel actually trying to get women to put their hands down his pants and do all this stuff when he was doing the Man Show. And he would put a blindfold on them, and then he would put them in very demeaning situations. I think that the thing that people hate about this entire thing and why people want to get people canceled is they see the hypocrisy of it. So when you have got one person preaching something and yet they have their own skeletons in the closet, like I think that's what's pissing people off.
I mean, I only hang out with people who are perfect. If you've made one mistake in your life, I will not hang out with you. That's just the way it is.
You're a church-going guy. It is what it is.
If
7
you've
days
made
a week.
one mistake, you're cut off.
Yeah.
You've said one curse word. You've said one mistake. You've done one thing. You've cheated on one test. You've stole one thing. You've made one inappropriate contest. We cannot be friends. That's it. That's my rule. And you know what? You know how many friends I have? I have 0 friends. None. Except for Josh. But, I mean, I didn't really even learn about this cancel culture until I came here to Valuetainment. I mean, I've heard the term before.
Yeah.
But this is something that we've talked about a lot. So I don't know if people at home have heard about this cancel culture, because it's certainly something that's popping up more and more and more and more. And I think it's a lot of younger people who are really twittering.
Well, Kevin Hart, cancel culture. I mean, you got so many stories of Kevin. You want to give some examples of cancel culture? Kevin is supposed to be emceeing, hosting the Oscars.
Right.
And then a tweet comes up from 6, 7, 8 years ago. Boom, he's canceled. Oh, we expect you to come apologize. And he goes on a tour of not apologizing, a little bit of apologizing.
I have a story.
But
well, so
I have a story here.
Okay.
I've sent one tweet in my life. My first and last tweet. It was regarding Bruce Jenner at the time. This is a story.
I remember the story. Yeah,
okay.
This is.
So, since then I've had, for my show, I've done some financial tweets for Saz Talks Money. Yeah. But my first tweet, and which was my last tweet for a very long time, was on behalf of my good friend Chris Humphries. And if you don't know who that guy, he married Kim Kardashian. Yep. I was a groomsman in the wedding. I walked Khloe Kardashian down the aisle. It was a whole thing about 9-10 years ago. Big deal. And 72 days later, was gone. However, fast forward, now it's the probably 2016 NBA playoffs. Chris was playing for the Washington Wizards at the time. I was in D.C. I remember it was Game 4. They had just swept Drake's Toronto Raptors. I remember Drake was leaving the game. Get the hell out of here, Drake. Everyone's, I had pretty cool seats because on behalf of the players. And I vividly remember booing them. Me, Chris, and another buddy went out to dinner after the game. And it was after the game, breaking news. Bruce Jenner sits down with, I believe it was Diane Sawyer, and he was no longer Bruce Jenner. He was now Caitlyn Jenner, right? People are used to it now. But at the time, we were like, what? Shocking. What? Yeah. Shocking. Yep. Bruce Jenner, and people don't understand. Bruce Jenner was, who I've met multiple times, Mr. Decathlon, Olympic. I mean, this guy still talks about that nonstop. So, and I say to Chris, naturally, after everything this guy's been through, and now, the icing on the cake was now, Bruce is now Caitlyn Jenner, and I say, dude, thank God you got out when you did, buddy. Joking. Thank God, who knows? And he goes, yeah, haha, and I go, you should probably tweet that. Thank God I got out when I did. And he goes, you think? I go, it's funny. People, they get it. This is breaking news, right? And he goes, yeah, but I actually like Bruce. And I don't want to offend him, but I kind of, it'll be a little jab. I'm glad I did get out, like naturally. So if you look at the tweet, he writes, "Thank God I get out. Thank God I got out while I did." But he put a hashtag like "gotta do you," meaning he actually supported that Bruce Jenner was doing himself or herself or whatever it is. So he wanted to add that, like as if like, I'm glad I got out, just FYI, but do you? Wow. As a former comedian, I'm like, that's hilarious. No. I learned very quickly that is not funny in the LGBT world. That is, talk about cancel culture. This guy.
LGBTQ.
LGBTQ.
Yes.
P
Go ahead.
now.
You were saying.
Q.
Yes.
I forget about the Q.
Okay.
So the next day, within minutes, this guy's this and this guy's that and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, dude, they'll get over it. It's funny. Oh, that was not funny. The next day, he had to come out with a public relations statement. I'm sorry. I'm not.
Poor guy. You ruined his career.
Dude,
That's why he got fired the next day. You cost him $40 million.
He's still playing in the NBA. He's doing just fine. But what I want to add was that tweet was on me. That's my bad. He took the blame. Obviously, he's not going to be like, that was my boy, Adam Sosnick, that made the tweet. Like, he came in, he owned it. But I just, for the record, he did not say that, meaning anything disrespectful.
That. So you were his writer, essentially.
I was the comedy writer in that sketch.
All right, that's what happens when you hire the wrong writer. It costs your career.
Yeah.
Speaking of getting canceled, do you think it's fair, Aunt Jemima, Uncle Ben, like there's a whole lot of people being canceled right now, even people that are not even with us anymore, people getting canceled. What's your thought on the whole Aunt Jemima, Uncle Ben situation?
We're really going down this path today.
Well, first of all, let's talk about the whole culture period. I'm not even because we went with Jimmy Kimmel and we didn't really finish off with that. Here's where I'm at with this. When you think about this whole cancel nation deal, years ago I did the following. I brought a couple of my guys because one of my guys in the company was going through an issue. You can call it somewhat of a scandal. It wasn't a scandal, but an issue that he was going through with. And relationship wasn't doing well. He was known for being with some girls. Anyways, comes back. A lot of his peers behind closed doors like, let me tell you something. I would. By the way, shout out to Mr. Hindle. He just gave 100 pounds. My man, he gave a shout out to Patrick BetDavid. Brand YouTube, fantastic show. Thanks, buddy. 100 pounds. 100 pounds like 125, but I don't know how much it is. It's more than $100, right? Okay. So he's doing this. I can't believe he's doing this. Everybody behind closed doors started judging this guy. Okay. And I said, I want to do a couple things with some of you guys. I brought a couple of guys over to my house, came to my house. I lined up these couple guys by the pool. And I said, okay, we're going to do an exercise together. I said, what's the exercise? I said, everybody stand right here. Stand right here. I said, I totally understand you're upset with what he did. Totally understand what he did. I said, I want you guys to walk across the pool to the other side. Go ahead. Okay, ready? On 3. We're going to walk across.
We're going to walk on water. Everyone is going to walk on water. It's an amazing example.
I said, on 3. Ready?
Amazing metaphor.
1, 2, 3. Let's go.
Start walking on water.
I said, what happened? I said, how come you're not walking? How come you're not walking and they didn't want to walk? Okay. So the challenge with Kimmel is the fact that the highest level of hypocrisy is you're saying what you're saying and then you're internally doing it yourself. So now here becomes the problem of cancel culture. All of these things that are being canceled today, because what's offensive today? What is offensive today? Saying something about LGBTQ community is offensive today, right? Okay, that's offensive today. What else is offensive today? You heard that realtors can no longer say what? Realtors can no longer say...
They can no longer use a term, or they're being asked to not use a term, master bedroom.
Master bedroom. Yeah. You can no longer say... So instead you have to say, this is the biggest bedroom in the house. You can't say master bedroom. Can you imagine like that? Hey, let me show you our master bedroom. You can't say that anymore. What's the other thing with golf?
The golf, they want to rename the Masters.
What are they going to name it? The Great Ones?
Yeah, which here's the thing that I find ridiculous is that when you talk about masters for golf, it has nothing to do with slavery at all. You're talking about people that mastered the game. Okay, the same thing with the NFL and the NBA. They're asking that no longer are they called owners. Okay, they're not saying they own the people. They're saying they own the team, the franchise, the business.
Corporation. No, you own the corporation.
Like, you're an owner.
I am an owner.
You know what I'm saying?
Proudly. I own the corporation of the companies that I have.
What's
I'm
it
an
called
owner.
when you get a highest level of education? You get your master's.
Yep.
No?
Yep.
Masters in education,
Yeah.
masters in
So
business.
here's the thing.
So that's it? What is going to happen then?
That is offending some people.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is the following. The problem is that countries shift every 50 to 100 years. What does that mean? What's offensive today is going to be acceptable 100 years from now, and what is acceptable today may be offensive 50, 100 years from now. You can't play that card. So if you play the card that Jimmy played, he has to be ready to experience what he's experiencing today. This is why Chappelle's position of saying, hang tight and let me get the whole news and do what I want to, before I give my opinions on is a better thing. But I think this cancel culture we're playing is going to get out of control, and I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon.
So they're going after the Cleveland Indians. They're going after the city of Columbus. Okay, Columbus, Ohio. They want to rename to Flavortown after.
I'd go visit Flavortown. Let me tell you that much.
But look, I am actually announcing today that I'm going to be filing a lawsuit against. Are you ready for this? Cracker Barrel.
Tell me about Cracker Barrel.
Well, as you know, cracker happens to be an incendiary, derogatory word for a white guy.
Yeah.
And so I've actually been called cracker before. And I resemble a barrel if you look at my shape. And so I'm not sure if it's trademark.
Crack ass, crack.
if it's
Crack
copyright.
ass, cracker, gonna sue the cracker barrel, crack ass.
But why do you not see white people getting offended over Cracker Barrel? I mean, like, I'm actually being honest. Like,
Hey.
if everyone's getting offended by names, why are we not offended by Cracker Barrel?
Yeah.
We actually want to hear what you think in the comments section.
And some people are actually already changing. I mean, the Dixie Chicks have just changed their name to the Chicks.
Yeah,
Right?
Lady Antebellum.
Antebellum is now Lady A.
So here's my
Interesting stuff.
my grandfather was
It's a travesty. Dixie Chicks.
3/4 Native American. Okay. His mom was half, his dad was full. I believe.
So you're related to Elizabeth Warren. That's
Yeah.
I didn't know
You're
that.
Elizabeth.
Yeah.
I am more.
By the way, I'm so sorry about your great-great-grandmother, the one that died in the DUI horse and buggy accident.
We got to
That was
complain
tough.
about that. That was our first complaint from his mom that came in. Very disappointed by your comments,
Sorry
by
about
the way.
your great
First comment we got.
DUI.
Adam's got the first complaint of the podcast.
So sorry.
But to me, if you name, say, the Cleveland Indians, okay, if you name a sports team after someone, like, unless you're dealing with softball, in softball they came up with a bunch of stupid names. But if you're naming a major league franchise, do you think that anybody does something in a derogatory fashion? No, everyone's looking for a mascot or something that they can honor. So to me, that's a place of honor. Like, and I know that my grandfather, a Native American, took it that way. Like, not once did my grandfather, who adamantly followed baseball, ever say, man, I think that is so racist.
So you don't think the Washington Redskins should ever change their name? Let's go around the room.
So I still have, obviously, a bunch of Native American family. I asked them. And I mean, like, these are Native American, like, get a check from a casino every month, okay?
'Cause that's the
Like,
definition of
these
you're
are
Native American or
registered
not.
Native Americans. These
Okay.
are card-carrying Native Americans. I asked them, are you offended by the term Redskins? You know what they all say?
Yeah.
Psh, no. So,
I'm offended by it
why?
because the last time they won, the quarterback was Mark Rippon. They need to change their name. They suck. Redskins need to change their name to something else. Every once in a while, teams change their names. I think San Diego used to be called the San Diego Clippers. Were what? The San Diego. What were the San Diego
football team?
No, basketball. The L.A. Clippers was San Diego before. It was called. Can you look it up? L.A. Clippers was what before? Not San Diego Zoo. San Diego Clippers. San Diego.
There's Kai and his great spelling.
Honestly, he's on a league of his own.
I come from Norway.
No, keep going, Lord. The Clippers were first. Click on the Wikipedia.
The Flint
San
Tropics.
Diego Clippers. There you go. Yeah, they were called the San Diego Clippers.
Oh.
So they didn't change that.
They were originally
Buffalo
the
Braves?
Buffalo Braves.
Buffalo Braves, and then San Diego Clippers. Well, even the Lakers. Lakers are not due to Los Angeles Lakers. Lakers are from
Minneapolis.
Michigan. Minneapolis that end up becoming.
Lakers. Don't disrespect Minneapolis. They'll come get you.
That's right, and that end up becoming a Lakers. So, okay, so
George Mikan.
We talked about something last time. George Mikan. By the way, his rookie card's a legit card. If you own a George Mikan rookie card, it's legit with the glasses. By the way,
if people don't know anything about, or obviously they know about you, but something that they didn't know about you, huge card collector. I mean, this guy's got cards galore. He knows the price, the value of the top cards. The number one card is what?
I got a card right now for
Yeah.
sale on eBay for $1 million. It's the Wayne Gretzky rookie card PSA 10.
You know-
so if you put it in the comments section, put the link of eBay's.
If any of you guys
Yeah.
want to buy
If you
this
want to
card.
make an
Yeah.
offer, let us know.
And if you, by the way, if you put in the code PATBET right now, you get 10% off I mean, you'll get it for 900 grand
No
right
discount.
now. Going once, going twice. Sold.
I am not giving discount on this card. Here's why. This card in 2012 sold for $93,000. The same exact card, 4 years later, sold for $464. $464 in 2016, and then today it's going to sell.
Today, what's the market value? $1 million?
It depends. You know, the other guy that owns it, you know,
there's only
two
two.
of them. Yeah,
There's
I'm
only
one
two.
of them. The other guy that owns it, will be paying $750 for it. I don't want to pay for $750 because it's the greatest hockey player of all time. So, anyways, but we're talking
great
about
one.
what we're talking about, baseball cards or George Mikan. Okay,
Yeah.
baseball. You said something yesterday, right? You said something yesterday about baseball, saying baseball is the most boring sport, and they're using audience. Why? Right?
Yep.
Did you have a reason for it, or were you just asking because you wanted to know?
Well, so I started looking at the revenue that comes in for Major League Baseball, and I was actually surprised how little of it is actually television is the tickets that are sold, and a lot of it's television rights. But the reality is, who enjoys watching baseball on television anymore? It's a small minority of the population. I think they have to find a way to sexy it up. There has to be something. And so I was asking Pat, because we all know that he has the entrepreneurial mind. What could be done to baseball to, I don't know, bring back the mystique, bring back the fun?
Make baseball great again?
What can we do? Okay, because baseball's great, but it's very, very boring.
Do you know why? You know why baseball's boring?
Tell me.
Why is baseball boring? Do you actually know or no? You don't know why
Slow.
baseball today
It's slow and long.
Why is it boring and slow and long today? It's become a pitcher's duel. Let me tell you, I never went to a game watching it saying, oh my gosh, 1-0. Hell yeah,
That's
what
soccer.
a freaking great game.
Right.
You went to a game and you wanted to see what?
Home
You wanted to
runs.
see home runs.
We need to bring back the
And you're-
steroids. We
I-
need to bring back the steroids.
By the way,
make steroids great again.
As crazy as that sounds to you,
Yeah.
as crazy as that sounds
It
to
doesn't
you,
sound that crazy.
every team's value would go up if there were more home runs. If there's more home runs, there'd be more excitement behind it. But right now, it's more of a math
That's
play
like if
than
you go to
anything
if you
else.
go to the you go to see NBA, you want to see scoring. You don't want to see an 81,
I will tell you this,
79
though.
game.
Did
You want
wa-
to.
Did you watch this year's NBA All-Star game in February? Did you watch it? Did you really miss it? Don't tell me you missed it.
No. I watch I watch a dunk contest. I watch a skills contest.
But did you watch the All-Star game this
They don't
year?
play defense. It's just
Fourth quarter, Adam.
they play D in the fourth
It's
quarter.
the
They change it in the fourth quarter.
It's
That's right.
the greatest defense
They changed it in the
I've
fourth
ever
quarter.
seen
That's right.
in my life.
That's right. You're absolutely right.
It
They
was
changed the rules.
greatest
You're right.
quarter I've ever seen in the history of
You're
basketball.
absolutely right.
I could not believe it.
And who won? LeBron's team.
Well, the whole thing was about defense.
Yes,
Just
in the fourth quarter.
It was sick the way
Right,
they
because
played.
it was like the first team to get 150 or whatever it was.
155 or
Yeah,
something
yeah,
like that.
yeah. It was
the,
awesome.
The model they changed. So here's
Right.
what's the point there. Here's a point. The NBA All-Star game for the longest time has been boring. What are you watching it for? No one plays defense. It's a lob. You throw it around, and it's like, who cares who wins? This year, they change it up. I think MLB needs to sit down, just like a sales organization needs to change a compensation structure sometimes.
Yeah.
I think the MLB needs to first fire Rob Manfred, who was the worst freaking commissioner out there. 60 games. They're talking about the fact that even in the games, you can't be 6 feet within each other.
You literally are going to get ejected if you come 6 feet from another player for the terms or the umpire, like to go argue a call. If you come within 6 feet, you're automatically ejected with, get this, a suspension and a fine. Now, in a 60-game season, start thinking about how important a suspension is. Like, if you're out for 5 games or 10 games, like that's
Well,
a
usually
huge
you'd
deal.
get suspended 60 games for steroids. So you get caught, you're out for the whole season.
I don't know. I think they need to change the compensation structure in the game of baseball. And what I mean by that is the way the game is set up right now, it's too slow. Kids are not going to, like, I had a buddy of mine. This guy is all about baseball and he's all about pitching. We'd go to a game and he would say, this is a great pitching game. Wow, what a great game we're at. I'm like, what a
nerd.
It's sixth inning and it's 0-0. This is a No. Watch this. Look at the strategy. Look at the pitch. They've already switched 2 times. And look what they're doing. The guy's still throwing a 98. I said, I don't care about a 98-mile fastball. You know what I care about? I care about a 450-foot home run. That's what I care about.
Beat it, geek. We got to get some hitting in here.
I care about it would go up. I mean, I remember I went to a game one time. The Texas Rangers played the Angels back in the days. The Angels had Salmon, and the Rangers had Juan Gonzalez. At this game, Juan Gonzalez had 2 home runs. At this
Your
game,
hero, your favorite player.
my favorite baseball player, 2 home runs. You remember those types of games.
Yeah.
You can't remember a pitching duel when it comes down to baseball. They got to figure out a way to change the pitching game.
Who's your favorite baseball player?
Oh, hands down.
John Cangelosi.
No. Hands down, without a shadow of a doubt. I grew up in the Mark McGwire era. And, dude, I will tell you, Mark McGwire, if you've ever seen this guy's forearms, so I love Mark McGwire so much that my parents actually got me the Oakland A's folder with his forearms on the front, and they're just massive. And, again, I didn't grow up rich, so I pretty much had one, like, really nice T-shirt that I loved to wear, and it was a No Fear T-shirt with a quote from Mark McGwire.
No Fear was huge back in the day.
Oh, it was big. And was Big Dogs, too.
And you were the Feuerstein.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
So it was
no Feuerstein.
It was a No Fear shirt, and on the back
Feuer.
it had a quote from Mark McGwire that said this: "Never make the same mistake once."
Oh.
And
I've always thought that was such a dope quote.
I don't even know what that means.
I think it was a message directed to our production team. But that was what a powerful
Yeah.
statement right there. Last but not least, let's touch up on this topic. Last but not least, Trump executive order on banning visas.
I'm
Thoughts?
telling you, I'm banning Visas, not MasterCard, not American Express. Those are great companies. Just Visa. Horrible, horrible Democrats.
So, something that I've had forced to do is not go with my gut and go do some research. So why did he do this? Who's in favor of it? Who's not in favor of it? Who's in favor of Trump's banning these visas? So why did Trump do it? His goal was to protect American workers, right?
Okay.
People are out of jobs. People looking for jobs. So he wants to protect local workers. Obviously, unemployment. 40 million people have applied for unemployment. And the flip side is who really does not like this? The U.S. tech companies do not like this. Who's come out against this? All the big companies, Google, Facebook, Amazon, Microsoft, Twitter, Tesla, Uber, PayPal, all have condemned this decision. Elon Musk has spoken out. Jack Dorsey has spoken out. I'm going to try to say his name right. Sundar Pichai, your good friend. He's the Indian CEO of Google. He's very disappointed. But what this comes down to is talent. This comes down to talent. The reason for bringing these people in is because they're talented. And we want diversity. We want talent. Do you know what percent? There was a Pew poll. You asked for where am I getting my research? There was a Pew poll in 2018, and they asked this question. I'd love to get your response. I'm going to hold it back. Do you think immigrants are, A, a burden on our country, and they take our jobs and social benefits, or B, make our country stronger and bring their work and talents to South Beach, like Lebron? What do you think the results of this poll were? They asked the American people. They asked about 10,000 people here. I'll get the exact number, but obviously Pew polls know their stuff. What percentage of Americans think that immigrants are a burden on our country, and what percentage of Americans think that immigrants make our country stronger?
Shall I take this first? Or
Sure.
You want it? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and surprise you here. I'm going to say, hands down, they make our country stronger. Okay? Now, let me put one small caveat in there, is that I think that it's important that immigrants come here legally as opposed to illegally. And there's several reasons for that. But as a strong conservative, I'm actually going to shock you. I am very, 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 very pro-immigration. I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
I lived in Mexico for a little under a year. I saw what people are wanting to escape from. And when you see people wanting to come over here and have a better life, it's no secret, even though I'm madly, madly in love with my wife, most incredible woman in the world. At one time, I was engaged to a girl from Colombia. And I watched.
Say what? Okay.
It's true.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Josh has got a little flavor now. Okay. Flavor it down.
She came over when she was 3. Just a quick story. Her father applied for citizenship, and it took until the age of 12 for him to get essentially his green card. He died 2 weeks before his papers came. They go into the immigration office, and they're told, "Oh, sorry, you got to start over at the beginning." She did not receive her green card until she was 28 years old. And I've got a lot of political connections. I've got a lot of political capital. And I was surprised. I thought, I'm going to make a few phone calls. Like, we're just going to get the situation handled.
I'm going to pretend I'm Donald Trump. We're going to get him right on the line.
Yeah. And I called up congressmen, senators, people that owed me favors. And even they said, dude, immigration is absolutely broken. So personally, I feel we need a wall, but we need a huge door, and we need a system that works a lot better than the current immigration system that we have, because I believe that immigrants make this country great, but you need to come here and assimilate to American culture, American values.
Okay, so you break with Trump a little bit on that, a little bit.
Slightly, yes.
Okay, wow. That's the first thing he's broken with Trump
Whoa,
on. I'm proud of you.
Hold on.
What?
Trump
Just own it. Just own it.
Trump has never been against legal immigration. In fact, I would point to you that 2 of his wives, immigrants.
Current wives, 2 of his current wives.
No.
Okay, so but what's your vote? What percentage of the American people do you think have said they make our country stronger, better?
60 to 70%.
Okay, so what do you think, PBD?
80 points. 80 points.
80.
80%.
80.
I do.
Well, as an immigrant, I mean,
No,
you're a
but
little
I
biased.
do. No, I'm not biased. I
that's
actually
right.
think a lot of people would say 80%. I am an immigrant, but I think 80% would say
Legal.
yeah.
Legal.
What's the number?
So the number is 60% voted make our country stronger, 34% a burden on our country. That equals 94%, 6%, or obviously
Just didn't want to
unsure.
talk about
Yeah.
it.
We actually have a young man in our studio that showed up in America at 14 years of age with no parents, no family, no nothing, and now incredible young guy, made something out of himself at the top of our team, done phenomenal stuff. And honestly, when it comes to this, and this is going to be shocking, okay, because I'm all for American jobs. I'll say this though. Is American young people need to flip and step their game up, and parents need to get them off flipping PS3, PS4, and Xbox and start teaching these kids how to code, right? Because our kids do not compete in the marketplace. Why? Because they're keeping up with the flipping Kardashians instead of keeping up with flipping schoolwork.
Shout out to
Adam, by the way.
Shout
You
out to
just
the
offended
immigrants.
Adam?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
offended. I'm gonna
All right.
cancel you.
Okay, so
As a
now-
former, I'm gonna give one quick stat. Just to
Guys,
build upon
by the
your
way,
point.
just so you guys know, how many of you guys are impressed with all the stats that Adam has? Because from
Wow.
last time, Adam's got here. Let me see it again. Let me see. Look at this research. Look at this research.
I take this
All
job very
those
seriously.
commentaries.
Y'all. I
Go
take
ahead and
this
comment.
job
Give us
very
a stat.
seriously.
Give us a stat.
Okay, fun stat for you guys. Should I just come out and say it, or do you want to
Yes,
guess?
give us the stat.
Here's the stat: 17% of the American workforce are immigrants. 17%.
Okay.
55% of startups valued at over $1 billion had at least one immigrant co-founder. Pretty impressive stat.
Wow.
The immigrants are bringing their values and
see
making
that.
companies
Yeah.
happen. I mean, a lot of them happen to be Indian, so shout out to our
What
Indian
does that say? What does that say, though? What does that say? That says people who don't live in America value America more than people who value America. That's what it says.
Preach, Pat.
Okay, now watch this. Let me give you my
Talk to
my
me.
thoughts on immigration and what this means here. I'm going to give you several different perspectives.
Yeah.
Number one is those whose parents came here illegally while they were under the age and they just simply followed their parents, and they've been here for 10 plus years, 20 plus years. They pay taxes, but they're frightened, but they don't have any legalization. I don't even know why we're thinking about it. They only know America. They don't know Mexico.
You're talking about the dreamers.
They're the dreamers, but we're still not making it easy for them. That shouldn't even be conversation. That
Well,
should
there was
be,
a big ruling this week, was there not?
yes,
big ruling.
Of course, big ruling, and they voted against it. Yes, of course, and now there's an extension 6 months. But
They voted
still,
against it, or they
not-
voted
they
for
voted
it?
for it?
For
but
it,
meaning
for it.
Trump. They voted against Trump, is what I'm saying.
Correct.
So, yeah,
They voted against Trump.
Yeah, so that's not even a conversation. I don't see that being
I
a challenge
totally agree
because
with you
those
on
kids
that.
did nothing wrong.
Keep
and they
the
came up
dreamers.
here.
Keep the
them here.
dreamers.
They're good for society. It's
Yes.
that all
Do
they
you
know is
agree with that,
America.
Josh?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Second, let me give you the second thing.
We're getting
Say
somewhere.
I am an illegal immigrant. Say I'm living in Mexico. Okay? Okay. If I'm living in Mexico and all of a sudden my neighbor, his daughter gets raped by somebody connected to the mafia, connected to whatever the cartel is over there, and he is frightened on what to do. Even having a gun, he's afraid. His daughter gets raped. And I have a daughter. And I'm sitting thinking, and all night my wife is worried because what if somebody breaks in? And we're in bed, we're having a serious conversations about life. What are those conversations? Baby, what are we going to be doing? We got 3 kids, 2 girls, 1 boy. What are you going to do if they walk in here right now with guns all over the place and they want to take Mary? What are you going to do? What places do you want to go to? You know we only have one option. How much longer can we wait until U.S. accepts our papers to go there? What do you want to do? I would be tempted to cross the border illegally.
100%.
I'm telling you right now, I
100%.
would cross the border illegally because I want safety for my kids. And if I go to jail, I'll go to jail, no problem. And I'm telling you that because my number one priority is what? The
kids.
security of my kids. I'm not worried about me going to jail. I'm worried about you're not going to touch my daughter. So that's the second audience. Third audience. Now let's talk about the last one here. The last one here, when it comes down to talent, is the following. Jack Welch, the famous COO, who just recently died, a few months ago, he died, God bless his soul. He was known for doing something every single year. You know what it was? He fired the bottom 30% of his employees. Fired the bottom 30% of his employees. And everybody said, why are you doing that? Why are you doing this? Well, we want to replace them because we want better employees here. So everybody every year had to improve, or else guess what? Bottom 30% goes. Wow. It was so controversial. People would say, oh my gosh, what a cutthroat guy. You're terrible. You're brutal. No, this is what we're doing. You either get better or you don't.
Compete.
Right? No problem. Now, when you want to hire people to a company, what kind of people do you want to hire to a company? Do you just want to hire anybody to a company? Or do you want the best types of talent that comes to your company?
You want the top talent you could possibly get.
So for me, it's the following. What I have a problem with immigration is the following. Kids who are growing up in China, they're growing up in Japan, they're growing up in Germany, they're growing up in Mexico, Brazil. They come to U.S. and they go to a school, Wharton, Harvard, USC, UCLA. Pick them. They go to school. They come here for 4 years. They're coming on a student visa. They come here, they get their degree, and then what happens to them? They go back to their countries. Why are we sending them back?
Horrible.
Let me get this straight. You came here, we give you our best training, we give you our best education. Why are we letting you go back? Here's what my system would be. You came here based on good grades, yes? Yes, great. You came here, you paid on your own dime, yes? Or you got scholarship, yes? You complete your 4-year degree with a certain GPA, you automatically get a green card to stay in U.S. Why am I losing the good talent? I don't want to lose the talent.
Of course.
Sure. By the way, here's another one for you. You're in America. You're an illegal immigrant right now. You broke the law to come in here. You have certain criterias. If you decide to join the military and serve for this nation, that's another way of getting a green card. By the way, I joined the Army without citizenship. I was in the U.S. Army with a green card. I got out June of 99, 21st, and I got my citizenship, just so you know that. I went in the Army with a green card. Last part here, when it comes down to immigration. We have to have a filtering system. I went to Panama, and I was playing poker at Panama. This was a few years back, and I'm having playing poker with a senator. And we're having a great time. These guys, these are money people. If you've never been to Panama, 2% unemployment. They have buildings you've never seen. If you pull up some of the real estate in Panama, type in Panama real estate, Panama skyscrapers, or Panama skyscrapers, right there, just click on it. The stuff you see in Panama, watch this.
Wow.
I've never seen any of this stuff in U.S. You ever seen a building like that in U.S.?
No.
Look at that building right there in
twisty,
Panama.
turny
The
one,
twisty,
yeah.
turny. You've never seen that. If you click on that guy right there, the one right there, yeah, look at that. I mean, you go to Panama and you're driving around, you're thinking to yourself, click on the other one, the tallest building in Panama, picture right there. Right there. You were just on it. No, the second one, go one more lower. Buddy, right there it says talk. Okay, we're gonna work on this with Kai. Kai needs to take a
Guys, you
Wikipedia
might
lesson.
think that Kai is inept and can't get it together. This is the only
That's
thing he's
not
bad
that
at. He's
one,
amazing
buddy.
at everything
That's-
else.
That's Panama City.
it's the
I'm talking about Panama, which was
It's a twisty-turny one, bro.
Twisty
Kai,
turny
speaking
one.
of immigrants, Kai
right
is our
there.
Norwegian
Just-
superstar,
Kai,
21
it's
years
right
old.
in
He's
front of you. I
typing
don't
in
understand
twisty
that. You ever seen a building like that in U.S.?
I will come to America alone.
He was typing twisty-turny.
He spelled it
By the
wrong.
way, they can't see it here. Just so you know, they cannot see it here. So okay,
man.
they cannot see that.
At
Anyways,
home, Google
So,
Panama
so
City.
if you go look
twisty-turny.
at the towers and
Yeah.
buildings in Panama, it's insane. But we're playing poker one night.
This is not your Vince Vaughn story.
No, this is
'Cause
a
that's an
different story.
amazing
That is
story.
a great story. So I'm playing poker with the senator, and then I ask everybody around the table, "Where are you from?" Dallas, Texas. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm from Dallas. Oh, you're here for vacation?
Yeah.
No, I live here. Wait, you live here? I live in Panama. Get out of here.
Expats,
Yes.
yeah.
I said, where are you from? Florida. Why are you in Panama? Vacation? No, I live here. Come on, man. Why are you here? Everybody at the table were all from U.S. that are living in Panama. Hence, if a civil war ever breaks out in U.S., Panama's an option.
Find Pat in Panama.
But why? Why?
So yeah, why are they in
Okay.
Panama?
So I ask, why are you here? Why are you here? He says, well, first of all, Panama. Now you're going to take a different angle. I'm going to give you a different angle. They said unemployment low, good for business, good life. They don't bother you. They're not in your way. And if you can bring $300,000 into Panama, they give you a green card,
Boom.
which you can live here. Okay? If you bring
Pay to play.
$300,000 in Panama, you buy a house or you bring $300,000 put in a bank, guess what? You get to live here. Okay, so what's the point there? I'm sitting there saying to myself, if you want the best, if you and I decide to run a country today, okay, folks in Seattle decided to run a couple blocks called what?
Jazz.
Okay, that's the country.
It's working out.
Say it's definitely working out. Yeah. So if we decided to run our own country, okay, if we decide to run our own country and you are the president, we are your advisors, what kind of immigrants do you want to attract to your country, Adam?
I want the best. I want the brightest. I want the most talented. And I want the
Perfect.
richest.
Oh, what a, he sounds like a bigot. You, buddy, what you just said right there.
Wow.
What you just said, that's offensive. Because you just absolutely violated immigration because you only want the best. That is not fair.
Bro.
Why would you build your country
can't
like that?
believe
What?
you.
What?
This is a Sean Hannity guy right here.
Bring
No.
me your huddled
Are you
masses.
kidding me?
Those yearning to
Drop
be
them.
free.
What was this all about, man?
You only
Fox
want the
News.
best?
Shame on you, what you
Well,
just
what's
said
the
right
best?
Bro, you walked
Okay,
into
maybe
that
I'll
trap.
take away the richest. I'll take away.
into the trap.
I'll take away the richest. But I want talented people.
You
My
just got
point
red
to
That's like
pill.
saying if you're going to start a company, don't you want the smartest,
Are
the
you
brightest,
kidding
the
me?
most educated?
No one's debating with
Okay,
you here.
okay,
I'm
okay.
with
You
you.
almost trapped me, but I'm not gonna fall
What
for
I'm
this trap.
trying to tell you
Yeah.
is the fact that what you just said makes sense, but politicians in America are fighting that. They're fighting it. America should have a system where the best of the best of the best in the world want to come to America. And but we don't have that system right now. So the filtering system needs to have a better criteria.
But can I say something?
If you meet this,
We
come on
want
down.
the best. Obviously, we want the best, the brightest, the most talented. Clearly, companies want that.
Yes.
But we also need to help people who, like you gave
Oh,
your
you just
example.
changed your position now. You
No.
flipped in 2 minutes. Yeah, you did.
No.
What a great
No, I
politician.
got it. That's right.
He's a great
We
politician.
also-
John Kerry is in the house. Flip flop. Give him your flip flop, Kai. Where's your flip flop? Can you go grab your flip flop?
I said
got a
that's-
couple flip. Open that
I
up
said
real
that's-
quick. I got a flip flop right there. He needs
I said
flip-flop.
that's what we
Here.
want.
No.
But we're also going to help people.
That's your flip flop.
We're going to also help people
Flip flop,
that
Adam.
we're going to also help people that are struggling. Like you gave the example of the father who came here illegally. Did you not? Mm-hmm. The father who came here illegally is worried about his daughters getting raped.
He did break the law, though.
Okay.
He did break the law.
I'm okay.
If he gets caught, he should get arrested.
Well, yeah. I mean, arrested. Okay.
Yeah, of course. So
okay.
break the law. Go back home. But
That happens every day.
Yeah, but I would still do it. Is what I'm trying to tell you.
See, of course.
But I'm telling you laws. Now I'm telling you laws. If it's laws, what kind of people you want to attract here? Okay, and you want the best, the brightest, and the people that are going to
there
make
is a
this place
system
better
that we
place.
have. I mean, I don't know. I'm not.
He's got better. That's kind of
Junkless.
flip-flops.
Junkless.
Chincletas.
No,
Hey.
those are legit Norwegian flip-flops.
We got a chincleta.
That's sort of
We got a
flip-flop.
chincleta.
Okay,
We
hey.
got a chincleta.
Let me pose a crazy question to you because I've always Pat I've literally wanted to get your take on this I don't think I've ever asked you this at lunch. Okay, could you ever see us annexing or in any way making Mexico a state?
Yeah, I think that would solve a lot of problems. That was actually something. Go ahead.
No. How?
How what?
Like, how would we do it?
The way you do it is similar to what we did with Texas. Texas decided to join what? Texas wasn't part of this. They decided. Yeah. Why did they decide? What is the one thing that's different about Texas than any other state in America?
It is its own republic.
It's its own republic. Yep. So if U.S. decides to bully Texas, Texas can simply do what? Okay, we're separating and we're going to be our own country. Texas is the only state that can do that. I would go to Mexico and pitch the same exact opportunity to them. Why don't we make Mexico the 51st state? Yes.
No, true.
Blowing my mind over here.
We make Mexico the 51st state. Forget about putting a wall up. Now you're our citizens, and you become a state. It's the 51st state called Mexico.
Could you imagine Trump accomplishing that? Could you imagine Donald Trump saying, I've changed my mind. We're not building a wall. We're going to build a bridge, okay? And we're going to call you the USA. I now have more beachfront property. It's a great acquisition.
You see Trump doing that?
Dude, I think Trump would do that in a heartbeat.
What's our current relations with Mexico right now under Trump?
By the way, there's a lot of people. There's more people that would benefit in Mexico than people in U.S. People in Mexico would love for that to become a reality.
Oh, for sure.
They would love for that to become a reality. You know how many problems it would solve? You're talking about trade agreements, forget about it.
Yeah.
You're talking about safety, forget about it. You're talking about access to U.S. military, forget about it. You're talking about economy and companies moving headquarters to Mexico, forget about it. You're talking about sports, athletes, scholarship, education. In every possible way, it benefits Mexico.
Does that benefit the Democrats or the Republicans if 50 million Mexicans
No,
show
it benefits
up?
the Democrats.
You think the Republicans are going to go for that?
Do you know why, though? Do you know why that? Do you know why it benefits the Democrats?
Because they're going to vote for the Democrats.
Because there are more low-income people in Mexico than high-income earners. So, of course, they're going to vote more Democrats. So, if Trump was able to pull that off, they would still vote Democrats, but it would benefit Mexico tremendously.
I vehemently disagree.
Tell me.
Living in Mexico, these people are very, very principled when it comes to things like abortion. When it comes to they're super strong Catholic. So it's Catholic, Christian. There's nothing else. I think that a lot of Hispanic people in America have been Americanized, but when you actually go over there, these people, they do not want strong federal government. They are scared of strong federal government. I believe that the Republicans can make a very strong case that we want to give you more personal freedom, and I think the Hispanic community would buy it.
Josh, if I had a buzzer right now, I'd be like, wrong answer. I just don't see that happening. Current relationship that Trump has done, they're coming over.
In some worlds,
they're raping our children, and then some, I guess, are good people. His famous quote, you think they're just going to all of a sudden vote for Trump? Come on.
The Republicans suck at marketing. They really suck at marketing, especially to the Hispanic community. If the Republicans were good marketers, they would get the black and the Hispanic vote.
So let me give you some stats. Because what you just did
Pat's
right there is called reaching. You were reaching.
Yes.
That was a good.
The people in the comment section tend to agree with me.
The people in the comment section can say whatever they want to say until there's stats. They can say they can say what they want to say. And I'm glad you guys think that way and agree with our buddy here. But let me give you some stats. Here's stats from The Atlantic. Okay, The Atlantic. Latino support for Trump is real. However, in 2016 election, 66% of Latinos voted for Democrats. 66% of Latinos.
And the number's climbing.
Hold on. So what you're really saying is that 40 or
34.
So 34% didn't. Okay, and it goes back to Republicans being horrible marketers, because when you actually sit Hispanic people down, now a lot of people don't realize I actually travel.
Two different discussions, by the way. That's two different topics. He asked the question saying, would that benefit Republicans or Democrats? My answer was it's going to benefit the Democrats. Your conversation is about how Republicans are bad marketers, which I agree with, but we're talking about right off the bat.
Their values align more with Republicans.
There's no question. I mean, the values of African-American grandmas and parents aligns with.
We talked about that
beliefs.
stat earlier. We talked about the fact that 90% of African Americans vote Democrat.
Adam needs a new nickname. Adam the Stat Sosnick.
I'll take it.
The Stat Sosnick.
I'll
He
take
likes
it.
stats. Okay. So, anyways, again, if that were to happen, it would actually be very, very interesting. If that were to happen, the United States of America adds an additional state, Mexico. No borders, no nothing.
Let's have a
You
vote.
got a new state added. By the way, how many of you guys can actually see that becoming a reality? How many of you guys can actually see that becoming a reality? Who can actually see that becoming a
I
reality?
mean, think about it from logistical purposes. When we were making Alaska a state, what year was that? Maybe in the 50s? Hawaii a state? What year was that? Can I get a year, Kai?
I think 60s.
I'm guessing in the 50s, give or take.
I think the 60s.
Those places are not even touching U.S. borders. Not even touching U.S. borders.
Do not offend our Alaskan community, by the way. They're very committed people, and they're probably
It's
very.
the number one state for low taxes.
They're
Number one.
furious with you. They're coming. By the way, if you're trying to find out where he lives at the local Ritz-Carlton, seventh floor, room number
That's not true.
728.
Save that money. Save that money.
Hey,
1959. Okay. And what year
I
did
said
Hawaii
60.
come a state? Okay. What year did Hawaii come a state, Kai?
59, same time.
15. Okay. And that was a reach. I mean, that's not even touching. So Mexico, not so.
So you're for it. So you are for Mexico.
I'm saying that it's really close.
Why don't you use your networking abilities to get on the Trump camp and work directly with Jared Kushner and Donald Trump Jr.
The chances
and
of
make
me
that happen?
joining the Trump camp.
Okay, let me get this straight. They contact you tomorrow saying we'd like you to join the camp and sit as an advisor. You're going to say no?
I'm a principled man, Pat.
How much you paying me, bro?
How much you
How
paying me?
much you paying
How much
me
you
is the
paying?
first
No,
question.
I'm not a Trump
Hey.
supporter. We all know that.
Interestingly enough, the most commented thing in this entire chat the entire time is, that fat guy looks just like DJ Khaled.
I was gonna say that. I swear to
Bro.
God. I've been waiting for my moment. I swear to God. I was looking
It's,
at the
at least
Joshua,
100 people have
Joshua,
commented
I've
this.
been looking at. Word to God. Here we go. It's so funny.
And
I've been
another
looking
one.
at the screen here, and I'm thinking, why is Josh watching DJ Khaled? If you and Pat had a baby, it'd be
another
DJ
one.
Khaled.
And another one.
He and I had a baby, it'd be DJ Khaled.
Yeah.
All right. That went a complete different direction to finish up that way. I did mention Joe Rogan, and people are saying, how come you're not saying anything about Joe Rogan? Let's talk about what happened with him and Joey Diaz. I think it was an episode 10 years ago where Joey talked about what was going on in Hollywood at the time. And as a comedian, Joey's been in a lot of mob movies, and, I've had pretty much all the big mobsters on Valuetainment before. Here's what I would say to that on what he said. Okay. Obviously, what he said is part of the whole story of, all of these other stories that you're hearing about got people in trouble.
Cancel culture.
Yeah, no, not even cancel culture. It's the negative, stories you hear about Hollywood.
Me
okay,
Too
what
movement.
happened? Yes, Me Too movement. But here's the thing. So, what we're saying actually today, what cancel culture is saying today is the following: we prefer liars over those who tell the truth. So what we're teaching today is lying is a better thing to do than telling the truth. Let me get this straight. So here's Joey actually telling what he did. He's not lying, and he's saying it on a podcast. It's not like it's in a locker room conversation. He's saying on a podcast, here's what I did, okay? Should he say, should he not say it? It is what it is. That's on him. That's his prerogative. But he says it. One thing I do with my kids is the following. I sit down with my kids, my two boys. The other day, one of my boys, he's sitting there, and I got him a Lego. I got him a nice Lego. It's a $99 Lego, and per $10, he needs to finish a book. Okay, it's the 6-year-old one, the one Dylan that with
My best friend.
Bo Jackson's bubble butt, the guy that's got calves bigger than most bodybuilders' calves.
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
so we're in the house. Okay, he finishes one of the books. There was 6 pages left. Next book, brand new book, Muhammad Ali's story. So I give it to him. You got to finish Ali's story. I'm reading a book. It's about history. Anyways, I'm reading this book myself. 10 minutes into it, says, Daddy, guess what? I said, what? I'm on page 84.
This is 10 minutes in.
10 minutes in.
This guy's a speed
caught me
reader.
out.
He's a speed
I
reader.
said, I'm sorry. Now, what he's trying to say is he wants to play it with the Lego today.
Yeah.
I said, what page are you on? He says, I'm on page 84. I said, say that one more time. He said, I'm on page 84.
This is 10 minutes in.
10 minutes in.
Okay, buddy.
Jennifer from background's like, babe, there's no way he's on page 84. I said, Dylan, come here. Look at me.
Looking away. Can't look you in the eye.
I said, Dilly, what page are you on? 84. I said, Dylan, we have a simple rule in this house. If you tell me the truth, you don't get in trouble, no spanking. If you lie to me, that Lego officially went to $20. So what do you want to do? What page are you on? I'm on page 4. Buddy, get back and read.
He was saying 8 or 4. I'm on 8 or 4.
So he goes back,
8 or 4.
and he goes back to reading page 4 and continues. Okay, great. Back to accountability, right? You don't get punished in our house if you tell the truth, right? What we're doing today is we're telling kids, listen, man, just lie. Lie constantly. The more you lie, the better it is. Keep lying, and that's what's happening with a lot of these guys. What's going on over here, by the way? Is the audio not working?
I'm getting a message. Higher or lower? What do you like?
It's kind of higher, or I don't know. It's
You
not.
wanna be louder?
Yeah, I can't hear it so
Did
well.
it just go away automatically?
Yeah, it
or-
was gone.
kinda
It's
gone.
back now. It's back. It's back.
Is it
It's
back?
back.
Okay, so it's back. The audio's back. Okay. So you know, he tells me the truth, and he's forgiven, and he moves on, right? Today, the media and these people have to make a decision. What do you want people to tell? You want people to tell all the lies? Great. All the lies, you can sit there and tell you all these stories you want to hear. But if somebody's telling you the truth, at least you got to give them credit to say, this guy told the truth of what he, listen, I disagree with what you did. Absolute atrocity, don't agree with the values, what you did, but you're telling the truth. Fair enough. I don't like you, but I respect the fact that he told me the truth. And you move on, okay? But I'm just not seeing the direction where we're going right now. Some people are even talking about canceling other, you know, I'm good on my end, by the way. I'm totally good on my end. My audio is good. I can hear it. I don't know if you guys can.
How's
I can
yours,
hear
bro?
myself, yeah.
Okay.
Anyways,
I
we're
can
coming
hear
to the end
myself.
anyways. Guys, here's what we're doing. This is episode number 3. I told our guys here, we got another $50 from Mr. Hindle. 12 months, Patrick BetDavid will be the new Joe Rogan. Brand new YouTube prediction. Mr. Hindle, thank you for the love, guys.
Yes,
Here's
it.
what I will tell you. I know it says Patrick's mic is bad. We're going to figure out the mic, or we're going to figure out 30% of our production team will not be here with us next week. One of the two is going to be taking place. But I will tell you this. We are going to test this podcast out for 8 episodes. That means today's 3 episodes. We got 5 more after this. And then we're going to have a discussion if we're going to continue this or not, because that's been my game plan from day one on how we do anything. If there's an audience and there's an appreciation for the value that we're bringing, you want to see it, we'll continue. If you don't, we won't. If you do, comment below, share the podcast based on the kind of reach and commentary we get, and going out there and rating the podcast on iTunes or any other places that you can find. That'll kind of tell me and give me an idea. So after our 8th one, which I'll announce to you, our 8th one, we're going to have a meeting together here. And at the end of the meeting, we'll say, yay, we're continuing, or nay, we will not be continuing with the podcast, and we'll maybe go in a different direction. But what I do want to say is this. For those of you that have been with us, episode 1, episode 2, and episode 3, I think it's very obvious we ought to recognize our buddy Adam to have better research and better notes on this one than the last one. We're hoping to see some more progress on the next one. I think at this point of the game, Adam may be going back to college here locally.
Wow.
He may be taking night classes. He may be taking Udemy classes. I don't know what's going to happen.
We haven't even gotten to the CARES Act yet. I mean,
Yeah.
we're going to have to get there next
By
time.
the way, next time you got to tell us about what's going on with the stimulus stuff, okay? We got to learn more about that.
Sure,
And again,
sure.
For everybody who tuned in, thank you so much for tuning in, gang. We appreciate you. We don't have a schedule on when the next one's going on. I think it's going to be next Monday, because tomorrow is my 11-year anniversary with my wife.
Congratulations,
Yes,
PBD.
11
We
years.
should Monday we're going to have to.
Not a lot of us thought we were going to go 11
Let's
years,
call it
but
now.
we've gone
Let's
11
call it
years
now. I think on Monday we're going to have a segment on relationships, marriage, how to do it, what to do, what not to do, tips, tricks. I mean, our audiences, you know, they're in the point of their life where they're considering getting married. Maybe they are married, you know. Maybe
Take your time. Take your time.
Take your
It's a
time. But I
lot
think
of
we
work
should
getting married.
dedicate a
Take your time.
segment to marriage,
Maybe we can.
kids.
That's right. Since you're single, we can talk about relationships.
Okay.
And we can get into that. Any final thoughts from you guys before we wrap up?
You know what? We love everybody watching. Honestly, we love going back through all of the comments. And you may not think, just because, especially Pat's time is extremely valuable. Adam's not so much. But
My time is valuable, sir.
Cash millionaire.
we actually love to go back and read the comments. So everything that you guys are writing, we do read. So thank you guys for commenting and being a part of the show.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess my biggest takeaway is, you know, if you guys did not understand how much Pat cares about the Valuetainment audience, you should have been in our production
Dreams or
meeting
nightmares?
yesterday. Pat really really cares about the audience.
And
that
your
was,
time.
That was crystal clear about how much Pat, more than anything, cares about the Valuetainment audience. I think
we're going to finish on that. How about we finish on that?
100%.
There needed to be some production yesterday. That podcast would have been a different kind of a podcast.
We care about you, and we'll be covering the CARES Act
next time.
Have a good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Oui.